Welcome to the Fantasy Audiobook. Fantasy. Pick up attributes like crazy. Chapter 21. Wang Mang, please stop pestering me. What can you do to me if you continue to beat me like this? When I get the master inheritance, I will leave naturally. Wang Mang stopped moving. He had tried his best to resist, and there was no need to continue fighting. Anyway, he showed his attitude with his actions. Even if he didn't stop Kuyang, others couldn't say anything about him. The two stood facing each other from a distance. Kuyang said playfully, Master Chinhu, you really have to make a house for yourself. To take a step back, you have to think about yourself, right? Isn't it difficult to be a member of Jinyue's Chinhu? Fortunately, there were no major mistakes in Junding Mansion. If something happened, the first person to be held accountable would be him, Qianhu, a member of the Imperial Guard. Moreover, Kuyang can conclude that it would be good for a mere Junding Mansion to have a Jin Yue who is in the innate realm. After all, the Ming dynasty has a vast territory. How many strong men are needed to guard so many cities? The people in Zhonghu are different. Most of them are squatting within a sect. Apart from the sect, there is nothing to protect. Xiao En looked calmly at Wang Mang, who was threatened by Kuyang on the roof. I saw Wang Mang put away the Shuchundao, obviously intending to let it go. Kuyang had a smile on his face, a little proud. Xiao En snorted coldly, and the two people who were about to leave were frightened. Who? Kuyang shouted. Being able to hide around two innates without being discovered, one can imagine the strength of this person. Xiao En jumped down from the roof and landed next to the two of them. He looked at Kuyang with a cold expression. The Sun and Moon God sect is so majestic. How dare you threaten the Imperial Guards? Wang Mang's face turned a little dark. Xiao En had come earlier and later, but he came at this time. He even wondered if Xiao En had been hiding nearby early in the morning. He forced a smile and asked, Xiao En, why are you here? Has the situation in Baikang been dealt with? He had left the most chaotic North City to Xiao En, so there was no reason why he still had time to come to the East City. Xiao En raised his eyelids and said in a deep voice, the chaos in Baikang has been stopped, so I came here to see which kind of a mortal dared to run wild in Junding Mansion. Wang Mang's eyelids twitched. News of the Grandmaster's inheritance first appeared in Baikang, where the largest number of people from the world gathered. Unexpectedly, Xiao En could calm down the chaos in Baikang in such a short period of time. This strength exceeded his imagination. When Kuyang saw Xiao En's figure, his heart suddenly lifted. Xiao En's reputation in the world is not small, so he has naturally heard about it. The 16-year-old Jin Yue single-handedly defeated many talented people. Among them were Nan Marong and Bu Jingyan from Tianxiahui and others. Its strength has no rival among innates. What's even more shocking is Xiao En's strength and dominance. The leader of the Qingcheng sect will kill whenever he wants, and even some rumors from the prison are spreading in the world. I just don't know whether it's true or false. He came to Junding Mansion not only because of the Divine Foot Sutra, but also because Xiao En was coming. Shang Wenshan gave him the task of getting rid of Xiao En. Kuyang suppressed the murderous intention in his heart. There is no rush to kill Xiao En, you have to find a suitable time. Then he raised his hands to Xiao En and smiled and said, it turns out to be Lord Xiao Zhanzhao of the famous Jinyue Baihu. Kuyang is so polite. Facing the ignorant Xiao En, he didn't dare to manipulate him as he did with Wang Mang. Wang Mang's mouth twitched. This was not how Kuyang treated him just now. Xiao En said with a cold expression, Kuyang of the Sun and Moon God sect. Those who wantonly disrupt the order of Junding Mansion are the followers of your Sun and Moon God sect, right? Seeing that there was something wrong with Xiao En's expression, Kuyang was not sure what Xiao En meant. He could only say in embarrassment, everyone is here to find a master to pass on. If there is any intrusion, please forgive me, Mr. Xiao. After saying that, he cupped his hand again, giving Xiao En enough face. It's just that Xiao En didn't intend to give it this face. His whole body was full of murderous intent. Since you admit that the Sun Moon God sect has disrupted the order of Junding Mansion, it will be easier to handle. Now that he couldn't kill Dongfang Bubai, couldn't he still kill an elder? Collect some interest first, and then settle the debt with Dongfang Bubai later. Alarm bells rang in Kuyang's heart. Xiao En, what does this mean? Don't you even look down on the Sun Moon God sect. Xiao En stretched out his hand, and a ball of water gathered in his palm. Tear the sky and dispel the clouds. A powerful palm struck Wuyang directly. Pulled by the powerful internal force, the surrounding houses trembled. Wuyang's expression changed drastically. Paiyan Palm is one of the 3 secret arts of Tianxiahui. And looking at the power Xiao En used, we knew that this move was not so easy to catch. Xiao En, do you, the Ming dynasty, want to go to war with our Sun and Moon God sect? The fierce-looking Wuyang roared loudly, and at the same time, the internal energy in his body was running rapidly. There is no concern about the damage to the meridians caused by the burst of internal force. He used all his inner strength to punch out. Boom! The powerful collision of internal energy caused Wuyang to spit out a mouthful of blood and fly backwards. It also shocked Wang Mang next to him and knocked him backwards. Seeing Wuyang vomiting blood, Wang Mang was horrified. Suddenly he rushed straight towards Xiao En and stopped him in front of Xiao En with his hand. Master Xiao, stop it. Xiao En hesitated for a moment after being called out by Wang Mang. Wuyang took advantage of this opportunity to turn around and run, disappearing into the night. Xiao En frowned, his face darkened, and he looked at Wang Mang coldly. Wang Mang was relieved when he saw Wuyang escape. He turned to explain to Xiao En. Sir Xiao, you almost caused a disaster. That Wuyang is an elder of the Sun Moon sect. If something happens in Junding Prefecture, the Sun Moon sect will surely retaliate wildly. We can't bear this responsibility. Xiao En sneered in his heart, took a deep look at Wang Mang, turned around and left. There are a lot of elders in the Sun Moon sect, and Wuyang is nothing. In terms of strength, he is also weak among those elders. The death of Wuyang can cause the Ming dynasty to go to war with the Sun Moon sect. Isn't this a joke? Wang Mang's face looked a little ugly. However, Xiao En's strength was superior to him. Even if Xiao En was so rude, Wang Mang had to endure it. If Wuyang really died in Junding Mansion, wouldn't it be him who was the one with the trouble that the Sun Moon God sect came to visit? This is also the reason why he stopped Xiao En. Xiao En also understood this truth, but he was not in a hurry to kill Wuyang. As long as the Grand Master is born, we can settle the accounts together. The next day, the restaurants and tea shops were full of people talking. I didn't hear many casualties last night. Jin Yiwei did a good thing for his people. Not only that, I heard that many martial arts warriors who came and went have died, and died miserably. The Jin Yiwei sent by Jinling is so powerful. Even the innate masters were killed by him. Now we are completely at ease. The Imperial Guards must be so powerful. After so many days, I haven't seen any results from the Jin Yiwei of Junding Mansion. Everyone was full of praise for the Jin Yiwei from Jinling. The people here cheered and cheered, but the people in the Zhonghu couldn't express their sorrow. Last night, many people fell into Xiao En's hands. There are even several martial arts warriors in the innate realm. This Jin Yiwei from Jinling has gone too far. My master was killed by him, I will never let him go. Yes, my senior brother is also in trouble. Ever since he came to Junding Mansion, we have to be careful when going out. How are we going to live like this? How can we find a master to pass on? Someone sneered. If you don't let him go, why don't you let him go? Are you stronger than Nifeng or Bu Jingyan? Those innate talents are no match for him. I heard that even Wuyang, the elder of the Sun Moon God sect, was seriously injured by Xiao En's palm. I wonder where he hid to recover from his injuries. After hearing this, everyone looked at each other. The elders of the Sun Moon God sect were all seriously injured. Who among them has the strength to take revenge? On the side, the handsome young master in white heard everyone's discussion, and his eyes showed interest. This person is Wawuk from Yiwa Palace. Being taught by 2 masters since he was a child, he is already an innate master at a young age. This time I also went out to practice under the instruction of my master. I heard that a Grand Master was born in Junding Mansion, so I rushed over to join in the fun. I never thought that I would meet Xiao En, a member of Jin Yiwei Baihu who has become famous recently. This young genius was described by the Great Master and the Second Master. I hope you won't disappoint me. Wawuk thought to himself. Nothing excites him more than competing with the geniuses of his generation. The inheritance was born in the east of the city. A shout suddenly sounded in the distance. The huge sound even echoed throughout the entire Junding mansion. Innate Master. Wawuk's eyes flashed and he immediately headed towards the east of the city. The martial arts warriors beside him also ran towards the east of the city in a swarm. Jinyue Yamen. Wang Meng was talking to Xiao Jian about the personnel situation of various forces in Junding Mansion, when suddenly a loud voice came. The inheritance was born in the east of the city. Xiao Jian's eyes lit up and he looked towards the direction where the sound came from with a sneer. Just by listening to the voice, he knew that this person was Monk Shijing. When he was in prison, Xu Jing scolded him frequently, and Xiao Jian was naturally very familiar with his voice. Turning to look at Wang Meng aside. Master Qinhu, aren't you going to take a look? For ordinary innate realms, the temptation of Grandmaster inheritance is not that small. After all, a Grandmaster inheritance can give them a 3/3 certainty of entering the realm of a Grandmaster. What's more, this inheritance is the Shaolin Master's Divine Foot Sutra. Wang Meng smiled bitterly and shook his head. I won't go. I'd better stay and guard the Yamen. Mr. Xiao, please go. With Xiao Jian and the Sun Moon God sect, there would be many geniuses in the world, but he had no chance. If you go there, it will be a wasted trip. You might as well stay. At least you won't make any mistakes. Xiao Jian nodded, jumped up and disappeared from the Jinyue Yamen. The people in Junding Mansion went to the east of the city one after another. There were few who dared to bully the people along the way. After a night of killing, no one dared to offend the people without any reason. The beings in the Shantian realm moved and flashed on the roof one after another, while the warriors in the acquired heaven realm were running wildly on the ground. It's so majestic. Hiss. Is that the Master Qin Shuang of the Tianxiahui? And the Master Hua Wuqiang of the Yiwu Palace? Elder Ku Yang of the Sun Moon God sect also appeared. And Master Jingling from Shaolin Temple. The knowledgeable people in the world could not help shouting loudly. Innate warriors are all strong in one area, and they are rarely seen so easily. As a result, they now appeared in groups, causing everyone to gasp. Xiao Jian from Jin Yue is here. The appearance of Xiao Jian caused the innate masters present to stagnate. They all looked in the direction of Xiao Jian. A person's name, the shadow of a tree. Xiao Jian's strength is definitely among the top among the innate ones. No existence in the Shantian realm dares to look down upon it. Xiao Jian glanced at the innate masters around him indifferently, and the indifference in his eyes made the people who looked at him feel chilled. What a talented young man. Master Jingling proclaimed the Buddha's name and murmured. Although they just looked at each other just now, Xiao Jian's aura was calm and his eyes were like an abyss, which made people feel fear in their hearts. Qin Shuang looked coldly at Xiao Jian, the young Jinyue who had made Tianxiahui lose face. If it weren't for Xiao Jian, his two junior brothers wouldn't have been punished by their master to go into seclusion. His goal this time was not the Grandmaster's inheritance, but Xiao Jian. As the eldest senior brother of Tianxiahui, he had to win back face for Tianxiahui. The group soon arrived more than 10 miles east of the city. The sound just now came from this place. The terrain in the east of the city is flat, with only a small hill. You can see it clearly at a glance. Where's the inheritance? Who said the inheritance would come out? Why is there nothing? Someone shouted loudly. They had been looking for it in Junding Prefecture for so long, they almost turned the entire Junding Prefecture upside down, but they still couldn't find it. So when they heard that the inheritance was coming out, they all ran over. The inheritance must be around here, look for it more carefully. The crowd cursed and scattered in search of him. But many innates in the field turned their attention to the mountain in front of them. To be precise, it is the entrance to a small tomb passage on the mountain. If there is a heritage in this place, it will naturally be hidden from their eyes. The only thing that cannot be seen through is the tomb passage. But none of them moved, but watched silently. No one who can cultivate to the innate realm is a fool. How could someone leak the location of the inheritance for no reason? He also sent a message to let everyone in the city know. People in the innate realm do not move, but those in the acquired realm are blinded by the inheritance of the master. Soon a group of people saw the tomb passage and rushed in. Not long after, screams came out one after another. It startled everyone who was about to go in behind. It's not good, there are traps everywhere, and many people died. A Hautian warrior who rushed out shouted loudly, his whole body trembling, obviously he was greatly frightened. A flash of understanding flashed in Xiao Jian's eyes. Is the reason why Monk Shijing revealed the inheritance just to let them open the way? In other words, Xu Jing should be hiding around at this time. He turned around and looked around, but found no trace of Monk Shijing. Having learned from the past, those acquired warriors did not dare to go in again, and stopped one after another to look at the innate warriors behind them. At this time, none of the innates moved. You guys won't just wait like this, will you? If you don't go, then I will go. Hu Yang's face turned a little pale and he turned to face the crowd. When he passed by Xiao Jian, his eyes were extremely gloomy. His injuries are not completely healed now, and he is just taking medicine to hold on. Xiao Jian brought him not only this injury, but more importantly, humiliation. In Junding Mansion, the news that Ku Yang was seriously injured by Xiao Jian of Jin Yiwei spread widely. He hates it. It's a pity that he is not Xiao Jian's opponent, so he can only place his hope on the inheritance of the Grand Master. The mechanism that acquired warriors cannot stop innate warriors. Ku Yang disappeared into the tomb passage in a flash. Amitabha. Jingling proclaimed the Buddha's name and followed. The Divine Foot Sutra belongs to Shaolin. How could he shrink back while looking at the secret book in front of him? Even though he knew there were many dangers inside, he still had to bravely rush in. Seeing Ku Yang and Jingling rushing in, the others couldn't stay any longer and followed them one after another. Xiao Jian is no exception. Everyone went in, but he couldn't pick up the martial arts fragments even if he didn't go. Anyway, if there is any trouble, retreat immediately. After a few innate masters entered, many people in the world had the courage to follow them. After stepping over a pile of human corpses, everyone arrived at the tomb. The huge tomb is like a palace, covering an area of several acres. It is so magnificent that most princes may not be treated like this after their death. What is the identity of this lay disciple of Shaolin? That he is buried in such a tomb? Qin Shuang asked Shaolin Jingling directly. This question is also what everyone wants to know. They all looked at Jingling. Jingling sighed and said in a deep voice, Zhendinghu. Everyone was shocked. 100 years ago, the famous Marquis Junding of the Ming dynasty controlled a colorful python and fought with the surrounding Tang army for 3 days and 3 nights. Only then did Junding Mansion be saved, and Junding Mansion was named after this. Unexpectedly, this Shaolin lay disciple turned out to be Zhendinghu. Where's the colorful python? Xiao Jian asked. The lifespan of spiritual beasts is much longer than that of humans, and they will not die of old age in just 100 years. And Xu Jing is not so kind to reveal the inheritance. As soon as Xiao Jian finished speaking, a fierce and terrifying aura came from the ground. Its power made Xiao Jian's brows jump fiercely. Grandmaster Realm. The colorful python following Zhendinghu is actually a master-level spiritual beast. Everyone looked ugly. The cultivation of spiritual beasts is more difficult than that of humans, but spiritual beasts of the same level are usually 3 points better than human warriors. And right now, the strongest people like them are only at the peak of their innate abilities. Run quickly. There is a spiritual beast in the Master Realm. Many warriors from the martial arts world swarmed towards the tomb passage. That posture makes me wish my parents had lost 2 legs. But the tomb passage was only so big, and a group of people refused to let anyone go, so they all got stuck there and couldn't get out. Get out of my way. My master is the yellow liger of the Tianxiahui. Let me go first. I am the protector of the Sun and Moon God sect. Fart. I should be allowed to go first. I am the deacon of the Kongtong sect. Before the colorful python appeared, a group of people started fighting. Ding. Congratulations to the host for picking up the Kongtong sect swordsmanship fragments and automatically comprehending the Kongtong sect swordsmanship. Ding. Congratulations to the host for picking up the Kongtong sect swordsmanship fragment, the martial arts experience value +10. Ding. Congratulations to the host for picking up the heart training seal fragments and automatically comprehending the heart training seal. Ding. Congratulations to the host for picking up the fragments of the crossing industry finger and automatically comprehending the crossing industry finger. Ding. Congratulations to the host for picking up the internal force fragments, the internal force value +5. Xiao Jian looked at the scene in front of him and shook his head. A rabble is a rabble. If they were willing to be humble, everyone could get out, but in this situation, no one can escape. Boom! A huge python head rushed out from the ground, and the tomb passage seemed a little narrow in front of it. Just a collision swallowed up many people in the martial arts world. There were only a few people left in the entire tomb. The scene was bloody, and this was just a random attack by the seven-colored python. The seven-colored python bathed in blood seemed even more bloodthirsty, and looked at the several innate strongmen in front of it with cold eyes. Spiritual beasts devour the essence and blood of warriors, which can speed up their cultivation. And the stronger the warrior, the more essence and blood are in his body. Oh no, this beast has seen blood, so we can only fight hard. Ku Yang's face changed drastically, and cold sweat broke out on his forehead. Even if the spiritual beasts in the master realm are like them, they don't have much confidence in it. It would be good if they can save their own lives. Ku Yang's performance fell into the eyes of several innates, making everyone feel contempt. Tang Shantian can actually be so scared. Wawuk, who was standing next to Ku Yang, looked at Ku Yang with disgust. Wawuk, what do you mean? Ku Yang's guard instantly broke when he saw Wawuk's contemptuous expression. Recently, Ku Yang's mentality has been shattered by the rumors about Junding Mansion. The whole person was a little abnormal, and naturally he couldn't bear to see Wawuk's expression. Wawuk couldn't tolerate him and glanced at Ku Yang with disdain. I'm not asking you to fight against this master-level spiritual beast alone. There are so many innates here, as long as everyone works together, there is at least a 60% chance of killing it. They are the geniuses of the innate realm. Although they cannot fight beyond the realm, their fighting power is far beyond that of ordinary innates. And who is born without some trump cards? Wawuk's words made Ku Yang recover briefly. He turned around and looked at the 6 or 7 innates next to him, and his eyes fell on Xiao Jian. Ku Yang suddenly sneered. Xiao Jian, this spiritual beast belongs to the Ming dynasty. If you don't go up and kill it, are you going to wait for it to kill all the heroes here? Ku Yang had a good idea. Transfer everyone's hatred to him. But Xiao Jian is not someone to be trifled with. He said casually, since you think this spiritual beast belongs to the imperial court, then the Divine Foot Sutra naturally also belongs to the imperial court. This is the tomb of Marquis Junding of the imperial court. What are you doing here? Why don't you get out? You. Ku Yang was furious. I didn't expect that Xiao Jian was not only powerful, but also so tricky with his words. It's a pity that he is not Xiao Jian's opponent, so he can only swallow his bad breath. He shook his sleeves and turned his head to ignore Xiao Jian. Master Jingling proclaimed the Buddha's name and advised, everyone, if you want to survive, we need everyone's full cooperation. Put aside your grudges for now and get through the disaster in front of you. Qin Shuang and others nodded. In terms of single combat, none of them is sure to be able to defeat this colorful python. If internal strife breaks out again, the colorful pythons will be defeated one by one. At this time, the colorful python's cold gaze flashed across everyone, and finally looked at Xiao Jian. Although Xiao Jian's exposed aura is not the strongest, his energy and blood are the most abundant, making him very emotional. But as soon as it thought of attacking Xiao Jian, it felt a strong sense of uneasiness deep in its heart. The hesitant colorful python just stared at Xiao Jian. Qin Shuang was very unhappy when she saw the colorful python's eyes resting on Xiao Jian. What does this beast mean? Does it also think that Xiao Jian is the strongest among the people present? Do it! Qin Shuang roared and rushed forward first, preparing to teach this colorful python a lesson. Tian Shuang fist. The tomb room was already slightly cold, which made Qin Shuang's Tian Shuang fist even more powerful. The strong internal force and the cold air blasted towards the belly of the colorful python. Wawuk's figure flashed, and the sword in his hand shone with cold light, emitting little bits of starlight. It is the Xingyan sword technique of Yiwa Palace. Master Jingling put his hands together and chanted the Buddha's name. The whole body is shining with golden light, and both palms are dark gold in color. Powerful Vajra palm. Everyone rushed forward and attacked the colorful python with all their strength. Xiao Jian stood there, looking thoughtfully at the colorful python in front of him. Hiss! The tongue of the colorful python flickered in its mouth, and it kept swinging its dozens of meters long body. Fine scales were looming in the dark tomb chamber. Because the space is limited and the colorful python is huge, everyone's attacks basically fall on the colorful python. Ding 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 ding. A series of golden and iron sounds came, making everyone take a deep breath. Are all spiritual beasts in the Grand Master realm so defensive? Wuyang screamed. Their attack only caused the colorful python to lose a few scales and did not hurt it. Instead, it angered him and started attacking everyone. For a time, everyone was in danger. Ding! Congratulations to the host for picking up the fragment of the powerful Vajra Palm, the martial arts experience value +10. Ding! Congratulations to the host for picking up the internal force fragments, the internal force value +15. Ding! Congratulations to the host for picking up the Sky Frost Fist fragments and automatically comprehending the Sky Frost Fist. Ding! Congratulations to the host for picking up the Nebulous Sword Technique fragments and automatically comprehending the Nebulous Sword Technique. Ding! Congratulations to the host for picking up the Nebulous Sword Art fragments, the martial arts experience value +10. Ding! Congratulations to the host for picking up the Mountain Splitting Wave Sword Technique fragment, the martial arts experience value +10. A series of system prompts awoke Xiao En from his reverie. Xiao En, you fool, why don't you take action? Do you want to benefit from it? Wuyang had been paying attention to Xiao En's movements. When he saw that Xiao En was not moving, he couldn't help but roared when he saw them taking action. Wuyang's cry made everyone's hearts tremble. They all glanced at Xiao En, who was standing aside. When Xiao En heard Wuyang's scolding, murderous intent flashed in his eyes. Ignoring the dying man, he looked at his system panel. Name: Xiao En. Age: 16. Kung Fu. The first chapter of the Divine Elephant Prison Power, 78 Giant Elephant Particles, Zixia Divine Art, Qingcheng Heart Method, Heavenly Demon Method, Sihang Sword Classic. Martial Arts: Great Power Vajra Palm, Wind God Leg, Cloud Clearing Palm, Heart Destroying Palm, Flame Fist, Cloud Stepping Sword Method, Water Stopping Sword Method, Morong Sword Method, Moonlit Morning, Star Shifting, Demon Breaking Palm, Mountain Splitting Sword Method, Broken Gold Chant, Spirit Heart Ghost Slash, Frost Fist, Nebula Sword Method. Martial Arts Experience: 5330. Internal Force: 2900. Realm: Innate 3rd Level. Looking at the rising martial arts experience and internal force, Xiao En's mood instantly improved a lot. All the previous martial arts experience was spent, and he felt uneasy without some stock. When encountering any sudden crisis, you have to have a trump card to feel at ease, right? In the field, the colorful python was fighting with several people. A lot of scales fell off his body, and traces of blood oozed from the scales. It was obvious that he had suffered some minor injuries. The rest of the people were not doing well either. They were all covered in dust and looked very embarrassed. Boom boom. There was another round of bombardment, and the two sides separated and confronted each other. Wuyang looked back at Xiao En and cursed. Xiao En, how long are you going to watch the fun? If you don't make a move, I won't accompany you. The power of the 7-colored python is obvious to all. Everyone took action, but only Xiao En remained motionless. He kept thinking about his own little calculations and stood by without doing anything. Is he really going to do the trick of taking advantage of others? Xiao En saw that several people were looking at him with dissatisfaction, and sneered, waste. It was not known whether he was talking about Wuyang or the people present. Everyone's face changed, and when they were about to scold, an ancient and terrifying aura suddenly burst out from Xiao En. Even though they were dozens of meters away, they felt trembling all over, as if they had encountered something terrible. Roar! The shadow of a giant elephant emerged, and it roared at the colorful python in front of it. The powerful might made the void tremble, showing ripples. What is this? Qin Shuang widened his eyes and stared at the shadow of the giant elephant above Xiao En's head. Xiao En was obviously not a master, but at this moment he exuded an aura more terrifying than a master. Master Jing Ling's eyebrows trembled fiercely. There are not many things that can move him as a monk, but Xiao En's innate realm made him feel shocked. No wonder the first master and the second master said that Xiao En should not be underestimated, he is indeed a young genius. Wawuk murmured. Before going down the mountain, the second master specifically explained which geniuses were in the innate realm, and Xiao En was the one she emphasized. His means are mysterious and powerful, and he is also an absolute strong man among the geniuses. This is the second master's evaluation of Xiao En. The seven-colored python, which was originally filled with murderous aura, twisted its body uneasily at this time, and did not dare to look at the giant elephant above Xiao En's head. It lowered its head to the ground, showing a gesture of submission. Hiss! This seven-colored python surrendered. This is a master-level spirit beast. The master-level spirit beast that we have been fighting for a long time and can't do anything about, actually surrendered in front of Xiao En. What's going on? Impossible, absolutely impossible. Hu Yang's face was distorted, and the jealousy in his heart made him unable to extricate himself. The existence of the master level is a high level even in the Sun and Moon Divine sect, and it is an absolute master admired by countless believers. It is also the goal he pursues. And at this time, the master level spirit beast, which is 3 times stronger than the master level, bowed its head in front of Xiao En. It made his face extremely ugly, even if it was someone else who subdued the seven-colored python. Why was it Xiao En? Xiao En walked up to the colorful python and asked, "Where is the Shenzhou Sutra of the Marquis of Junding?" The spirit beast of the Grand Master realm is already spiritual, so it can understand human words. The seven-colored python opened its mouth and spit out a jade plate from its mouth. The Shenzhou Sutra is actually hidden in the stomach of the seven-colored python. No wonder Xu Jing wants to release the news. Xiao En only then knew Xu Jing's purpose. He must have no way to kill the seven-colored python and rob the jade plate, so he released the news. Xu Jing must be watching next to him. Xiao En raised the corner of his mouth slightly. There are so many innates here now, and basically none of them have any serious injuries. I think Xu Jing will not show up. Amitabha, donor, the Shenzhou Sutra is the treasure of Shaolin. I wonder if you can return it to Shaolin. Master Jingling put his hands together and asked. Xiao En reached out and put the jade token into his clothes. I'm sorry, the Marquis of Junding is also a member of the court, and this jade token is also something of the court. If the master wants the jade token back, you can go to Nanjing to ask for it from the court. Master Jingling nodded, and the seven-colored python was still here to guard Xiao En. It's unlikely that he will hand over the jade token now, but he has to try. As for whether he will go to Nanjing to ask the court, that's none of his business. The Shaolin Temple's top leaders will deal with it. Hu Yang's face flashed a trace of viciousness, and he began to sow discord in front of everyone. Everyone knows that the Shenzhou Sutra is a Shaolin treasure, but you insist on not returning it. Are you going to keep it for yourself? Hu Yang knew that he had no chance of getting the Shenzhou Sutra by himself, but it was no problem to throw some dirty water on Xiao En. Xiao En's eyelids drooped, and his tone was low. Whether this jade token is handed over to the court has nothing to do with your Sun Moon sect. But I haven't forgotten the insults you made to me just now. After saying that, he winked at the seven-colored python, and the seven-colored python immediately understood. Spitting out its tongue and swimming towards Ku Yang. What are you going to do? Ku Yang screamed immediately when he saw the seven-colored python swimming towards him. Just now, so many people together were no match for the seven-colored python, let alone him alone. Xiao En, how dare you? I just told the truth. Are you going to kill me to silence me? Then he said to the people next to him, Xiao En is going to break through one by one and kill us all. If I die, you will be even less of a match for the seven-colored python and Xiao En. No one can think of walking out of the tomb alive. The hearts of the people trembled. Although they knew that Ku Yang said this to save his life, no one could guarantee that Xiao En would do so. Even if there was a 1 in a million possibility. So at this moment, they had to consider their own safety. One by one, they faced Xiao En. Seeing several people standing together, Xiao En's eyes were cold and murderous. You also heard what Ku Yang said to me. I must kill him. Are you sure you want to stop me? Xiao En stared at the people in front of him with murderous intent. Ku Yang was extremely angry and terrified. It seemed that Xiao En was not going to let him go. Xiao En, don't be too proud. Don't think that you can do anything to me with a beast helping you. You, the court hawk, are you not here to deal with us, the people in the rivers and lakes? Now here, you are the only person in the court, so what if I kill you? Wuyang kept provoking the relationship between Xiao En and everyone. Everyone has a sect behind them, and they have been oppressed by the imperial court, right? Xiao En is only 16 or 17 years old, but he has such strength. When he grows up, how many brothers in our respective sects will die in his hands? Why don't we all work together to kill him first? Wuyang's words made everyone a little tempted. Looking for death. Xiao En roared, and the colorful python behind him rushed up instantly, entangled Wwang and others. Facing the master-level spirit beast, several people had no time to take care of Wuyang, and they all tried to stop him. Leaving Wuyang alone to face Xiao En. What do you want to do? Looking at Xiao En approaching, Wuyang screamed loudly, trying to cover up his inner fear. What? You should have known the consequences when you plotted against me. Xiao En's palms glowed with strong golden light. Powerful Vajra palm. In the dark tomb, Xiao En's perfect level powerful Vajra palm made everyone's eyes light up. Is this the powerful Vajra palm? Impossible. How can the powerful Vajra palm be so powerful? Jingling screamed. The unique skills of Shaolin Temple are notoriously easy to learn but difficult to master. There are only a handful of people in the entire Shaolin who can practice the powerful Vajra palm to perfection. But Xiao En's powerful Vajra palm was obviously more than just a great success. Everyone opened their mouths wide and looked at Xiao En's palms in disbelief. Bang! Xiao En's palms collided with Wuyang. Wuyang's palm power was like the difference between a firefly and the bright moon to Xiao En. When their palms collided, Wuyang felt a great power contained in Xiao En's palms. Then, in Wuyang's unwilling eyes, he slapped him against the wall, and his entire skeleton and internal organs were shattered in an instant. No breath at all. Everyone was shocked. After forcing the seven-colored python back, several people gathered together and looked at Xiao En with full vigilance. Xiao En waved his hand and asked the seven-colored python to retreat. Although the seven-colored python was strong, it was just so-so in Xiao En's eyes. What's more, one's own strength was the most important. When the seven-colored python saw Xiao En asking it to retreat, it hurriedly drilled into the underground cave and disappeared in front of everyone. After killing Wuyang, Xiao En turned to look at Hubei of the Sun Moon sect. Sun Moon sect elder Wuyang disrespected the court and has been executed. If you Sun Moon sect have any dissatisfaction, you can go to Jinling to complain to the court. Hubei looked at the murderous Xiao En and waved his hands anxiously. I dare not. Wuyang disrespected the court and he asked for his own death. It has nothing to do with the Sun Moon sect. Xiao En's strength is not something he can deal with. Even if he wants revenge, he will have to wait until he returns. Seeing Hubei so tactful, Xiao En's murderous intent dissipated a little. Qin Shuang's expression slightly condensed, and he walked in front of Xiao En calmly. Xiao En, I heard that you learned my junior brother's martial arts after watching his Paiyan Palm and Function Leg. You also defeated them with our Tianxiahui's martial arts. As the eldest senior brother of Tianxiahui, I naturally cannot stand by and watch. Today I will learn whether you are really that powerful. Qin Shuang looked at Xiao En with a firm look in his eyes. As a young generation of genius, he has never lost. His two junior brothers have never lost either, so they will naturally get back at him. Xiao En put his hands behind his back and smiled dumbly. You are not my opponent, don't waste your energy. He also learned Tianshuang Fist, and Qin Shuang's wool had been fleeced almost enough, so Xiao En was not interested in another fight. The people present had basically used all their life's learning in the fight with the seven-colored python just now. So for Xiao En, there was no point in fighting again. But this indifferent attitude was an insult to him in Qin Shuang's eyes. It was clear that he looked down on him. Suddenly, he was furious, and his whole body was full of energy. Hey, why bother? Xiao En looked at Qin Shuang and shook his head. Heavenly Frost Fist. The extremely cold air rushed towards him, and the fist shadow attacked Xiao En frantically. Wawuk and the others' eyes lit up and shouted. What a great Heavenly Frost Fist. The eldest brother of the Tianxia Association is indeed extraordinary. With Qin Shuang's strength, there are few rivals among the younger generation. I didn't dare to be distracted when fighting just now, and I didn't watch it as carefully as I do now. That whistling fist intent, even if they were asked to catch it, it would take a lot of effort. Give it back to you. Xiao En shouted, and the same move went towards Qin Shuang. Boom! In the tomb, the fist shadows of the two collided, making a loud rumbling sound. The air of frost all over the sky rushed towards him. When the few people waved their hands to sweep away the frost in front of them, the fight between the two had stopped. Qin Shuang was seen squatting on the ground with a dejected look, his hands covering his chest, blood dripping from the corners of his mouth. He was obviously seriously injured, and his eyes showed frustration. It was the same move again. It was exactly the same as what junior brother Feng and junior brother Yun said. They had practiced martial arts for more than 10 years, but they couldn't beat Xiao En, a young man who just took a look. No matter how good his mentality was, he couldn't keep his composure. Qin Shuang lost. It is rumored that Xiao En can learn other people's martial arts by just looking at them. This news is actually true. Then when we fought with the 7-colored python just now, didn't we teach him all the martial arts? The Jinyue has a real dragon. The court picked up a treasure, and the people in the martial arts world will have a hard time in the future. Several people started to discuss. Xiao En looked at Qin Shuang expressionlessly, turned around and left the tomb. In the dark, Xu Jing's face was extremely ugly, his hands were clenched, and he stared at Xiao En's figure. Xiao En, you wait. He spent all his efforts, but in the end, Xiao En picked the fruit. Who would have thought that Xiao En's strength was so strong that he could subdue the 7-colored python? Even Qin Shuang of Tianxiahui was defeated by him. Even if he had the peak of innate cultivation, he didn't dare to say that he could defeat Xiao En. Not to mention that Xiao En had a master-level spirit beast beside him. There was no chance at all. However, when Xiao En left, he did not take the 7-colored python with him, which made Xu Jing feel that there was still a chance. Followed quietly. After the news in the tomb spread, Junding Prefecture was instantly boiling. When did the Jinyue Centurion become so powerful? They even dared to kill Ku Yang of the Sun Moon sect. What is a Ku Yang? Haven't you heard that the master-level spirit beasts have surrendered? With Ku Yang dead, how can the Sun Moon sect let it go? Now the world is bustling. Don't forget that the 3 hall masters of the Tianxia Association were defeated by Xiao En, and the Tianxia Association will not let Mr. Xiao go easily. And Shaolin, how could Shaolin allow the Shenzhou Sutra to be spread outside? Unknowingly, Xiao En had actually offended the 3 major sects of the Ming dynasty. Many people in the world kept talking about it, and the news of this place was quickly spread by them. And Xiao En, who was being talked about by everyone, had already embarked on the journey back to Jinling. In a short time, he had completed the task of the Jinyue and gained a lot. Just after leaving Junding Prefecture, he saw Xu Jing's figure on the official road. Whoa! Xiao En pulled the reins and stopped the horse under his crotch. I thought Master Xu Jing had given up. These days, Xiao En has been able to sense that someone is secretly following him. He can tell with his toes that it is monk Xu Jing who is unwilling to give up. Xu Jing's face is dark, and his eyes are almost spitting fire. Looking at the face of the young man in front of him, he wants to smash it to pieces. When he was in the imperial prison, he was tormented by Xiao En a lot. Now he has taken away the Shenzhou Sutra that he has been thinking about. How can he be willing? Resisting the anger in his heart, Xu Jing gritted his teeth and said, Xiao En, return the Shenzhou Sutra to me, and you will never torture me in the imperial prison. If not, don't blame me for being rude. Xu Jing didn't want to fight with Xiao En either, because Xiao En was too evil. But he couldn't bear to give up the Shenzhou Sutra. He is over 60 years old and has failed many times to break through the Grandmaster realm. The Shenzhou Sutra is his only chance to achieve the Grandmaster realm. No matter how strong Xiao En is, he has to come and give it a try. Xiao En smiled with disdain on his face. How do you want to be rude? Xu Jing's strength is not even as good as Qin Shuang's. If they really fight, it will be a waste. In the Shantian realm, Xiao En believes that he has not met anyone who can fight. Unless the Grandmaster takes action personally, he may still be able to threaten him. You have just entered the Shantian realm. I don't believe you are really that strong. Xu Jing's face was ashen, and he was ruthless. He punched Xiao En. He saw clearly that Xiao En killed Ku Yang and defeated Qin Shuang in the tomb. But his strengths are in physical strength and defense. As long as he gets close, there is still hope. Even if he really can't beat Xiao En, it's always okay to escape. With this idea, Xu Jing hurriedly rushed up. The power of the peak of the Shantian is indeed intimidating enough, and the official road is full of flying sand and rocks. Even the air was stirred up by Xu Jing to form a shock wave. Unfortunately, it was still not good enough in front of Xiao En. Ah! The shadow of the giant elephant emerged, and the surrounding void seemed to be stagnant. The wind and sand were blown back by the terrifying power of the giant elephant. It was not the first time that Xu Jing saw the shadow of the giant elephant above Xiao Jian's head. But when he really faced the giant elephant, he realized how powerless he was. His proud physical strength and defense were like paper in front of the giant elephant's shadow. Puff! Xu Jing, who was severely injured, vomited blood, his whole body quickly weakened, and he lay limp on the ground. At the same time, the system prompt sounded in Xiao Jian's mind. Pick up the Arhat Fist Fragment, Martial Arts Experience +10. Pick up the Internal Force Fragment, Internal Force +15. Putting away the giant elephant shadow above his head, Xiao Jian narrowed his eyes and laughed. I didn't expect to find a prisoner in the Imperial prison halfway. It's really worth the effort. At this moment, a figure appeared behind Xiao Jian. It was none other than Jin Yue's pacification envoy Ji Tai. Ji Tai clapped his hands with a smile, and was very satisfied with Xiao Jian's performance. Pa. Good. Well done. Xiao Jian's heart moved. How did the pacification envoy Ji Tai come to Junding Prefecture? Thoughts raced in his mind. Recycle all the less important martial arts and exchange them for martial arts experience points. In an instant, all the martial arts experience points were used to improve the divine elephant prison power. Boom! Xiao Jian's muscles and bones in his body instantly boomed. One after another, the giant elephant particles awakened, and the momentum of the whole body became more and more powerful. 79. 80. It took until 160 to consume all the martial arts experience points. At the same time, the cultivation level also increased rapidly. Innate 4th level, innate 5th level, innate 6th level. It didn't stop until the peak of the innate 6th level. When he looked at the system panel again, a huge change had occurred. Name: Xiao Jian. Age: 16. Skills: the first chapter of the Divine Elephant Prison Power, 160 Giant Elephant Particles. Martial Arts: Perfect Vajra Palm, Minor Success of Wind God Leg, Minor Success of Cloud Clearing Palm, Minor Success of Breaking Sky Frost Fist, Minor Success of Dozhuan Xingyi. Martial Arts Experience Value: 0. Internal Force Value: 0. Realm: Innate 6th Level. Ji Tai's arrival made Xiao Jian's whole mind tense, and the internal force in his body was condensed but not released. After all, Ji Tai is a Grandmaster, and Xiao Jian has no experience fighting with a Grandmaster. It is never too careful. Ji Tai has come to him before he turns around. Xiao Jian bows and says, Xiao Jian, the captain of the Jinyue, greets the governor. Xu Jing, who was lying on the ground groaning, stiffened. The Jinyue's pacification envoy is a master-level expert. Why did he come here? He just wanted a Shenzhou Sutra. Did the Jinyue send a master? Xu Jing was devastated at this time. It was fine that he couldn't beat Xiao Jian, but the Jinyue actually sent a master-level expert. This was going to kill him. Ji Tai saw the seriously injured Xu Jing, and a trace of surprise flashed in his eyes. He had been following Xiao Jian from a distance, and just now he felt a strong and ancient breath, so he hurried over. He thought someone had taken the lead and took Xiao Jian down before him. Unexpectedly, the situation turned around, and even Xu Jing, a veteran innate peak, was no match for Xiao Jian. Although he didn't follow him into the tomb, he also heard about Xiao Jian's performance in the tomb. It can only be described as amazing. Ji Tai walked towards Xiao Jian with a chuckle. Good job, you didn't embarrass the Jinyue this time. I came here just to test you. Before he finished speaking, Ji Tai's face suddenly changed, and he suddenly punched Xiao Jian's dantian fiercely. This punch was surprisingly fast, and he only wanted to be fast. Accurate, fierce. Bang! Xiao Jian's figure was smashed out fiercely. But Ji Tai's face did not improve, but became even gloomier. Xu Jing, who was lying on the ground, was stunned. What's going on? The Jinyue's pacification envoy actually attacked Xiao En. Aren't they in the same group? Looking at the posture, the Jinyue coming from behind clearly wanted Xiao En's life. On the official road, Xiao En's eyes burst with murderous intent, looking in Jitai's direction, and slowly stood up. Fortunately, he was well prepared and blocked Jitai's attack with a punch. He was not hurt at all. It was just because the incident happened suddenly. In order to relieve Jitai's force in a hurry, he flew backwards. Sir, is this also to test me? The cold murderous aura around Xiao En pushed the smoke and dust on the official road outward for dozens of meters. Seeing that Xiao En was not injured at all, Jitai did not waste words and directly revealed his true face. Hand over the Shenzhou Sutra and the martial arts you practiced, and I will spare your life. He always thought that Xiao En could learn the martial arts performed by others at a glance, which must be because he had a top-notch magic skill. This is his real purpose. Humph. Xiao En snorted coldly and slowly closed his eyes. When he opened his eyes again, the shadow of a giant elephant appeared above his head. The ancient and mysterious aura not only did not make Jitai hesitate, but made him more excited. It's this martial art. The greed in Jitai's eyes was hard to conceal, and he shouted ferociously. Hand over the training method of this martial art, or I will make you live a life worse than death. Only he is qualified to possess such a powerful martial art. Although Xiao En made him feel a little dangerous at this time, he is a master. To kill a boy who is not even at the peak of innateness is like killing an ant. You have a good vision, but it's a pity that you are a little stupid. If you want my martial arts, it depends on whether you have the life. After saying that, all 160 giant elephant particles in Xiao En's body exploded. The giant elephant's shadow doubled in size in an instant, and the terrifying pressure was even greater than before. Even the void was flashing with a faint black light. That was the trace of the broken space. Jitai and Xu Jing looked at Xiao En involuntarily. You hide your strength, Jitai screamed. Although the shadow just now gave him a sense of danger, he believed that he was still confident of resisting. But now the giant elephant's shadow is tens of meters high. The air was completely imprisoned between his steps, and even the heaven and earth seemed to be howling constantly. Xiao En sneered, but did not answer. Since he had exposed all his strength, there was no chance that Jitai and Xu Jing would survive. The cold murderous intent made Jitai tremble all over. Not good. A big knife appeared in Jitai's hand, and his internal strength was filled. Holy Dragon Slash. The huge sword energy moved the void, and even pressed the ground around him down half a palm deep. This move was his strongest move. The power was unparalleled. He once used this move to cut a grandmaster in half. Xiao En's eyes were cold, and there was no fluctuation in his expression. The giant elephant above his head roared to the sky. Roar! The giant elephant stepped on the sky, and ripples formed in the space, pushing towards Jitai at a speed visible to the naked eye. Wherever the ripples passed, the sword energy disappeared into thin air. There was no ripple at all. Jitai's eyes widened, and he could only watch the terrifying ripples swallow him. Puff! Wherever the ripples passed, even the ground seemed to be scraped. Everything was reduced to dust. It can be said to be crushing and unstoppable. Hiss! Xiao En took a breath of cold air. A grandmaster was killed so easily. The power of the upgraded divine elephant prison power was beyond Xiao En's expectations. After this battle, Xiao En also knew his own strength. Ding! Congratulations to the host for picking up the fragment of the Holy Dragon Slash and automatically comprehending the Holy Dragon Slash. Ding! Congratulations to the host for picking up the fragment of the internal force value plus 130. Ding! Congratulations to the host for picking up the fragment of the iron cloth shirt, martial arts experience value plus 10. Ding! Congratulations to the host for picking up the internal force fragment, internal force value plus 15. There are actually hundreds of master level internal force value fragments. Xiao En's mouth corners slightly raised. Looking at the place where Xu Jing was lying just now, even the ground had disappeared, leaving only a pool of blood. The last trace of the two people left in the world was only a little blood, and there was no need to clean up the scene. Xiao En shook his head, turned around and went to Jinling. Not long after, a group of people came here. It was Wawuk and his companions who stayed in Junding Mansion. Wawuk looked heavy, and fell into deep thought as he looked at the blood on the ground. Could this be the noise made by Xiao Jian? Qin Shuang asked in disbelief. If it was really the noise made by Xiao Jian, it would be too exaggerated. Wawuk shook his head. Impossible. Although I admit that Xiao Jian is very strong, this place is at least 20 miles away from Junding Mansion. To make such a big noise 20 miles away, even the peak of the innate can't do it. Unless it's a master. Wawuk said it decisively. He often competed with masters in Yiwa Palace and was very clear about the abilities of masters. Several people beside him nodded. Master Jingling said in a deep voice, if it wasn't Donor Xiao, then there must be a master who tried to snatch the Shenzhou Sutra. Donor Xiao just left the city. Xiao Jian's whereabouts were not deliberately concealed, and anyone who was interested would know. If you really want to snatch the Shenzhou Sutra, just pay attention to Xiao Jian's movements and you will know. Qin Shuang sighed. It seems that the Shenzhou Sutra has attracted the master's action. I don't know if Xiao Jian is okay. My Tianxiahui hasn't taken revenge yet, he can't just die like this. The 3 hall masters of Tianxiahui have all lost once. If they don't get this place back, it will accompany them for life. When talking about the 3 hall masters of their Tianxiahui in the future, people will remember that they have all been defeated by Xiao Jian. So he is the one who least wants Xiao Jian to get into trouble. The group looked around again, and didn't find anything else, so they dispersed. Jinling, Xiao Jian, who subconsciously returned to the courtyard, looked around and was stunned. At this time, the courtyard was in good order inside and outside. Ling'er had already followed Li Hanyi to Bili, so the courtyard should not be so clean. She came out of the room in a red dress. She had a good figure and a happy smile on her face. Wangwan, what are you doing here? Xiao Jian was particularly glad that Ling'er had left the courtyard, otherwise he would regret it too late if she was harmed by someone. Master Xiao, come in and sit down. What are you doing at the door? Wangwan smiled and greeted Xiao Jian. She looked like a master. Xiao Jian didn't spoil her. He asked in a cold tone, why are you here? This courtyard was his and Ling'er's home, and he didn't want anyone to disturb him. Seeing Xiao Jian angry, Wangwan was not discouraged and pretended to be pitiful. I've been looking for you so hard. Since we last met in Fuzhou, I can't forget your presence in my heart. Why don't you come back to the Tang dynasty with me? The position of the holy son of my Kuiyin sect is still vacant. Xiao Jian sneered and said nothing, staring at Wangwan. Until she felt creepy, she said awkwardly, if you don't agree, then don't agree. Why do you look like you want to eat me? In the past, as long as she acted coquettishly, many men would fall at her feet. Unfortunately, Xiao Jian didn't buy it at all. Get out, before I get angry, otherwise don't blame me for being rude. Xiao Jian said coldly. The murderous aura was looming, making Wangwan's heart beat wildly. It was as if she was being stared at by some terrifying existence. Forget it if you don't agree. Remember to come to Kuiyin sect to play with me next time you go to the Tang dynasty. After leaving this sentence, Wangwan fled. It was Xiao Jian's aura and murderous intent that made her dare not stay any longer. After leaving the courtyard, Shi Feishuan's figure appeared behind Wangwan. He was driven out, right? I told you a long time ago not to have any ideas about him. Shi Feishuan said lightly. The stronger Xiao Jian's talent, the more she didn't want Xiao Jian to be involved with Kuiyin sect. Wangwan turned around and snorted coldly with a firm look. Shi Feishuan, no man I Wangwan wants can escape from my palm. But you have also been to that small courtyard and cleaned it for others. Are you tempted? Xiao Jian's figure flashed through Shi Feishuan's mind, making her cheeks slightly red. However, with the scarf blocking it, no one could see it. I just don't want you Kuiyin sect to harm people. This statement didn't seem as righteous as before. Wangwan smiled foolishly. I have made an appointment with him. I must bring him to Kuiyin sect next time. After saying that, he turned around and left proudly. Shi Feishuan's eyes changed. Although she knew that Wangwan didn't say many truths, she was still nervous. She hurriedly chased after her. Xiao Jian looked at the changed courtyard and muttered to himself. Ling'er, when brother reaches the Grandmaster level, he will go to Bili to see you. With the strength of the Grandmaster level, he can fight even if he meets a grandmaster. Thinking that he had not reported to the Jinyue about this trip to Junding Prefecture, Xiao walked towards the Northern Pacification Division. Xiao is now a big celebrity in Jinling Jinyue. No one in the entire Northern Pacification Division disrespects him. When he arrived at the gate of Jinyue, he was respectfully welcomed in by the strongman at the door before he even had time to show his token. All the way to the central hall of Qinhujiang was unobstructed. "Sir, Xiao from Baihu has something to report." As soon as Xiao voice sounded, Zhang Zhen went out to greet him personally. "Ha ha ha ha, Xiao is here, come in quickly." Zhang Zhen enthusiastically pulled Xiao sleeve and walked inside. Xiao was slightly embarrassed. What's there for two grown men to argue about? Zhang Zhen had long passed the message through Jinyue's flying pigeon in Junding Mansion. Know what Xiao did in Junding Mansion? Everything makes his face look bright. "Sir, this is the Divine Foot Sutra. Please accept it, sir." Xiao handed the jade plaque in his arms to Zhang Zhen. Okay. Zhang Zhen accepted it casually and said with a smile, "All the subordinates who promised you last time have been provided for you. Let's go and show you." After saying that, he pulled Xiao towards the backyard with excitement on his face. Xiao is now his big treasure. Because of Xiao he showed his face to the commander several times. Maybe at some point he can take another step forward. The two came to the backyard, and Zhang Zhen shouted, "You all, come out." Dozens of royal guards immediately walked out of the surrounding rooms. Two of them are in the innate realm. It's just that the breath is very unstable, as if he has just made a breakthrough. The breath was very agitated. Zhang Zhen explained to Xiao with some embarrassment. The situation in Wwang City is really tense right now, and the Jinyue's manpower is really not enough. I won over these two people who have just broken through the innate realm. But don't worry, these two people can be trusted to have no background behind them. Xiao nodded, cupped his hands and said, "Thank you, sir." He didn't value strength. If something happened, two people in the innate realm wouldn't be able to help. On the contrary, it is more important to have trustworthy people. Zhang Zhen said to the person opposite, "This is your new 100 households, Mr. Xiao Zhangjiao. You must have heard about his deeds recently. You are lucky to be able to follow him, so you should take advantage of it." Everyone looked at Xiao. If anyone in Jinyue has the most reputation recently, it is Xiao. A 16-year-old young genius, I heard that he had a reputation in front of the commander. I've met Mr. Xiao. The smart person has already begun to show his kindness to Xiao. Xiao nodded and bowed his hands to everyone politely. "We will all be colleagues from now on, so please take care of me, brothers." His humble attitude greatly increased everyone's favorable impression of him. Zhang Zhen was very satisfied with Xiao performance. A young man who is neither humble nor arrogant, mature and steady. It is rare to know how to win people's hearts even with those under his command. No leader would like such a person. Zhang Zhen looked solemn and said in a serious tone, "You guys will be responsible for guarding the Meridian Gate from now on. This is a good job. If you fall in the eyes of any big shot, promotion is just a matter of words. This job is much better than Jinyue's other jobs. There is basically no danger, and it is close to the people in power of the Ming dynasty." But Xiao frowned slightly. Guarding the Meridian Gate was certainly safe, but without fighting, how could he improve his strength? But now that it has been decided, he has no choice but to take it one step at a time. After Zhang Zhen left, Xiao also communicated with everyone for a while. I also got to know a little bit about the people under my command. The two innates, one named Yan Rong and the other named He Yu, both had ordinary backgrounds. After appointing the two men as the general banner, Xiao left the remaining matters to them. He returned to the small courtyard again. Mentally call out the system panel. Name, Xiao. Age, 16. Kung Fu, the first chapter of Divine Elephant's Prison. Suppressing power, 160 giant elephant particles. Martial arts, perfect Vajra palm, minor achievements in Wind God legs, minor accomplishment in dispelling cloud palm, minor accomplishment in star shifting, Tianshuang fist, minor accomplishment in holy dragon slashing. Martial arts experience value, 10. Internal force value, 145. Realm. 6th level of innateness. It was still a little short of time to leave the Grandmaster realm to find Ling Er. A night of silence. Before dawn the next day, Xiao En got up and headed to the Meridian Gate. The mourning dynasty of the Ming dynasty began with the 4th update. And those ministers basically passed through the Meridian Gate. Xiao En led dozens of Jin Yiwei to inspect carefully. In addition to monitoring the Zhonghu, the Jin Yiwei is also responsible for inspecting all officials. Except for a very small number of real civil servants who served as officials in the Ming dynasty, the rest were all warriors with strong training. Generally speaking, the higher the level of martial arts, the higher the official position. Facing the Jin Yiwei who inspected them, many ministers would not show a good face. Especially after seeing Xiao En's childish face, they all started laughing. The Jin Yiwei even sent out such a young boy, is there really no one left? Just one world meeting will make them miserable. Ji Gang is really getting more and more promising. No wonder the imperial court's reputation in the world is so bad. It's all because of the incompetence of the royal guards. Xiao En frowned and looked at the arrogant minister in front of him. The middle-aged man in front of him is dressed in the clothes of a servant. As expected, he is at the Grandmaster level. Stop! Xiao En shouted loudly, making everyone present stunned. They all turned to look at Xiao En. Xiao En stretched out his hand and pointed at the middle-aged man. Come here and get checked. In full view of everyone, the middle-aged man's face turned red after being scolded. How presumptuous! I am Duan Yucheng, the Minister of Civil Affairs. How can you, a small household member like you, inspect this? Duan Yucheng's eyes showed a fierce light. He is the Minister of the Ministry of Civil Affairs and is in charge of promotions. He has always been the target of praise from hundreds of officials. If I was searched by a Jin Yiwei at the Meridian Gate today, how could I still have the face to stay in the court? The embroidered spring knife in Xiao En's hand came out of the sheath with a clang sound, pointing directly at Duan Yucheng. The officials on the side watched the excitement happily. Ha! This centurion is so brave. He actually dared to draw his sword against Lord Duan. He really doesn't know how to live or die. Ji Gang has a capable man under his command. Ha! Ha 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 ha! Lord Duan is not an ordinary master. This Jin Yiwei is in trouble now. The discussion of the crowd made Duan Yucheng feel embarrassed. When did he fall to the point of being harassed by a Jin Yiwei centurion? Duan Yucheng's aura kept rising. The terrifying pressure rushed towards Xiao En, trying to give him a warning. He didn't think of taking action outside the Meridian Gate. This is the Imperial Palace, who dares to take action? But as his aura became stronger and stronger, Xiao En on the opposite side did not react at all. He stared straight at Duan Yucheng and tightly grasped the embroidered spring knife in his hand. He said with a cold face, "This lord, your behavior is suspicious, please come forward for inspection." Duan Yucheng's face was distorted. The many ministers who were watching the excitement gradually stopped laughing and looked at Xiao En seriously. It's not easy to remain calm under the pressure of the master. What's more, Xiao En dared to provoke a master. Duan Yucheng stared at Xiao En. The Jin Yiwei guarded the Meridian Gate and did have the duty of inspection. But in the past, which of these ministers who went to court would take the Jin Yiwei seriously? They are just a group of guard dogs. Duan Yucheng clenched his fists and gritted his teeth and said, "What if I don't accept the inspection?" Xiao En shouted without turning his head, "Those who break into the palace will be killed without mercy." His two general flags Yan Rong and He Yu hesitated for a moment, unsheathed their swords, and stared at Duan Yucheng. Dozens of Jin Yiwei also drew their swords, with a look of alert. The scene became strict in an instant. Good, very good. Duan Yucheng's anger almost drowned him. If he didn't accept the inspection, he would definitely not be able to enter the palace. But if he accepted the inspection, his face would be peeled off and stepped on by Xiao En. Who would have thought that he, Duan Yucheng, a dignified minister of the Ministry of Personnel, would fall into the hands of a small Jin Yiwei centurion today? Investigate. I hope you can find something. Duan Yucheng closed his eyes, but his trembling eyelids revealed that he was not calm in his heart. Xiao En circled around him but did nothing. He said in a light tone, "Go in." You. Duan Yucheng pointed at Xiao En with a trembling finger. He knew that this was revenge. Revenge for his slander against Jinyue just now. The ministers beside him also became honest one by one. They say that it is easy to see the king of hell, but it is difficult to deal with the little devils. Today they have seen it. Jinyue, who used to be disliked by everyone, now seems not so easy to bully. Duan Yucheng snorted coldly and walked in angrily. Xiao En turned his head and glanced at the other ministers with a warning in his eyes. The corners of the ministers' mouths twitched, and they cursed in their hearts. But no one dared to say anything. They could only go in dejectedly. Sir, you are really awesome. I heard that the brothers who used to guard here were ridiculed by them. Yan Rong and He Yu were full of admiration. Dozens of his brothers looked at Xiao En eagerly. Xiao En's actions just now completely convinced them. Okay, it's just a little thing, keep on duty. After a few words of indifferent instruction, Xiao En asked them to keep on duty. He took a nap against the wall. It's not so easy to be an official. You have to get up before dawn. Xiao En was taking a break outside, but the palace was in an uproar. Jinyue Commander Ji Gang and other important officials of the court all entered from the south gate, and they didn't know that Xiao En had slapped Duan Yucheng in the face. They all greeted each other calmly. The officials under him secretly spread the matter of women. From time to time, someone secretly glanced at Jinyue Commander Ji Gang, which made Ji Gang confused. Sheng Shui, the Minister of Personnel, was a little unhappy when he heard about this. There were so many ministers at that time, but Xiao En only targeted him, an official of the Ministry of Personnel. If he didn't come forward, it would be difficult to explain to the people below. He walked in front of Ji Gang and said something neither soft nor hard. Lord Ji has many capable people under his command. This time, I, the Ministry of Personnel, have learned a lesson. After saying that, he didn't give Ji Gang a chance to reply, and turned around and walked aside. Ji Gang was stunned. What's going on? At this time, a Jinyue came in front of Ji Gang and whispered what happened outside the palace gate. Ji Gang's eyelids twitched. It's this Xiao En again. This was the second time he heard Xiao En's name. At the age of 16, Shantian suppressed several hall masters of the Tianxiahui. Now it seems that he is brave and resourceful, and he is a promising talent. Just looking at the dark face of the Minister of Personnel, I felt a little bit of pain. Needless to say, this account is counted on his head. After the court session, the ministers went out from the Meridian Gate again. This time there is nothing to check. Duan Yucheng saw Xiao En's figure in front of the Meridian Gate from a distance. He sneered and stepped forward and said, Captain, there is no need to check this time, right? You wait for me, don't fall into my hands. Duan Yucheng's expression was ferocious. He is just a congenital, and he must know what it means to be a master and not to be insulted after he leaves the Meridian Gate. The other ministers watched this scene happily. Xiao En said lightly, Sir, take care, come back tomorrow. This sentence made everyone's face darken. They had only this way to go to court, and if they were searched every day, they would be embarrassed. They smiled embarrassedly and left the Meridian Gate quickly. Only Duan Yucheng was trembling all over after hearing Xiao En's words. The murderous intent in his eyes almost solidified. Unfortunately, he had no way to deal with Xiao En, so he could only walk away angrily. After the shift, Xiao En, who returned to the Northern Pacification Division, was immediately invited to the Central Hall by Zhang Zhen. Xiao En, why are you so impulsive? Those people in the Ministry of Personnel are very cunning. I don't know when they have tricked me. Zhang Zhen was a little disappointed. Being a good doorman can cause trouble, I don't know what Xiao En thinks. Xiao En said with a nonchalant look on his face, in the way of martial arts, you should be brave and radical. If you don't fight back when you are insulted, what's the point of being sharp? How much can you achieve in martial arts? Zhang Zhen was shocked. Since he became 1,000 households in Jinling, his strength has not improved in the Grandmaster realm. At this time, Xiao En's words made him suddenly enlightened. Looking back on these years, he was full of worries, afraid of wolves in front and tigers behind, and he really didn't have the sharpness of a warrior. Zhang Zhen slowly closed his eyes, and the past scenes flowed in his mind, and his momentum became more and more fierce. Boom! The powerful momentum rose up wave after wave. Boom! Boom! 2 waves of momentum burst out in succession, and his strength instantly broke through 2 small realms. Ha 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 ha. Zhang Zhen opened his eyes and laughed. Looking at Xiao Jian's young face, he said excitedly, "You are really my lucky star." Xiao Jian bowed his hands lightly. "Your Excellency figured it out yourself, and I dare not take credit for it." Zhang Zhen was particularly optimistic about Xiao Jian, and now he has received a favor from Xiao Jian, and he appreciates him even more. He said with a slightly strange look, "There is an order about you, asking you to go to Tianshan. Wwang City has secretly surrendered to the court, and you will decide for yourself after you go there." It doesn't say what to do specifically. He didn't understand why this order was issued. Let Xiao Jian go to Tianshan, but no specific task was given. I don't know what Xiao Jian was asked to do. Xiao Jian's eyes turned, but he understood a little in his heart. Obviously, the higher-ups were under some pressure because of the Meridian Gate incident, but they didn't really want to punish him. That's why he was asked to go to Tianshan. The trip to Tianshan seemed extremely dangerous, but in fact there was no danger. After all, the higher-ups didn't give him a specific task, so as long as he went there for a walk, he would have completed his task. But Xiao Jian had his own plans. The more dangerous and fighting the place is, the greater his gains will be. What a good opportunity to fish in troubled waters. And he also wanted to see the current situation of Fengyan and the others. These 2 people will be alienated from Shangba in the future, and they are his designated younger brothers. Thinking of taking the 2 people into his pocket and secretly forming his own team, Xiao Jian's heart became a little hot. The big ship of the court is not so easy to get on. If he wants to live freely in this world, he must have his own confidence. The value of confidence lies in the quality, not the number, and Fengyan and the others are his targets. Thinking of this, Xiao Jian's mouth corners slightly lifted. "My lord, I know what to do." After speaking, he clasped his hands and left. Zhang Zhen looked at Xiao Jian's back with a puzzled look on his face. Zhang Zhen looked puzzled. He had never heard of Xiao Jian's backing in the Jinyue. Why did the top leaders bypass him and give Xiao Jian such a mindless order? After thinking for a long time, he still couldn't figure it out and shook his head with Zhang Zhen, leaving the matter aside. After coming out, Xiao Jian gave Yan Rong and he used some instructions, and then set out on the road to Tianshan. Tianshan is located in the west of Daming. It is extremely high, and the ice and snow on the peaks do not melt all year round. The terrain is dangerous, and there are countless thousands of feet high mountains. The headquarters of Tianxiahui is on the top of the highest of them. Wwang City is the first city barrier between Tianshan and Daming. If Wwang City also surrenders to Tianxiahui, then Tianxiahui can drive a nail into Daming, and its momentum will be like a dragon entering the sea, unstoppable. It can develop in all directions, and there is no need to worry about retreat. After all, not everyone can attack the dangerous mountain. In addition, Shangba, who has unfathomable strength, is as stable as Mount Tai. Xiao Jian went all the way without any obstacles, and finally arrived at Wwang City after more than a month. This time, he did not wear Feiyu clothing and embroidered spring sword. So he did not alarm anyone. The atmosphere in Wwang City was very tense. Everyone knew that Tianxia would want to annex Wwang City. But there was no specific time for when Tianxia would attack. The people of Wwang City had endured this kind of torment for several months, and they were already shaky. Wwang City, Dugu Mansion. Dugu Ming slapped the table hard and said to Dugu Yifeng beside him, "Father, are we just going to wait like this? Tianxia has bullied Wwang City too much. If we don't fight back, when Shangba's 3 hall masters break through to the grandmaster level, we will have no chance to fight back." Dugu Yifeng, who was sitting in the main seat, looked haggard. He naturally understood this truth. He sighed with an ugly look. "What if we don't wait? Go to Tianxiahui to kill Shangba. Shangba's strength is unfathomable. Unless Daming sends out the elders of the Gongfeng Hall, we are definitely not their opponents." If his brother Dugu Jian was still alive, he would never be bullied by Tianxiahui. It is a pity that Dugu Jian has been in seclusion since he succeeded Wwang City as the city lord. At present, Wwang City can't even find a leader except him, the Grand Master. How can they fight against Tianxiahui with just the 2 of them? Dugu Ming said angrily. "Where are the Jinyue of the court?" What are they waiting for? It will be too late if they wait any longer. There are quite a few people sent by Jinyue these days. But most of them are people in the innate and acquired realms. There are only 3 people in the Grandmaster realm, and these 3 people do not obey the orders of Wwang City. This makes Dugu Ming very dissatisfied. Okay, Dugu Yifeng comforted. Hasn't Tianxiahui come here yet? Besides, if our Wwang City is destroyed, then Ming Dynasty will not be much better. Dugu Fang sneered. Wwang City provides delicious food and drinks to those Jin Yue, but so far, Jin Yue has done nothing. How could anything be so cheap? He immediately leaned over and gave instructions to Dugu Ming, not knowing what Dugu Fang said. Dugu Ming's eyes became brighter and brighter, with an excited look on his face. The night sky will look a little dark. Although no one has ever dared to invade, the mountain roads are still full of patrolling gangs. Team after team of patrols looked around warily. Dugu Ming and a few people sneaked up under the cover of night. With the route map given by Anzi, the group of people actually slipped in under the noses of many guards. When he arrived at the Divine Wind Hall, Dugu Ming showed a cruel smile. If Dugu Fang hadn't told him, Dugu Ming wouldn't have known that his father had hidden secrets in the world. Moreover, Anzi also brought a detailed map of Tianxiahui, including the major news that Nifeng and Bu Jingyan are breaking through to become masters. Breaking through the masters in trance, you won't be disturbed at all. If not, at least the meridians will be destroyed, or at worst, he will die on the spot. And he came to Tianxiahui at night just to give Nifeng and Bu Jingyan a hard blow when they broke through. After Dugu Ming and others finished dealing with the people on guard around them, they turned over and entered the secret room where Nifeng was retreating. Looking at Nifeng sitting quietly, Dugu Ming played the knife in his hand several times. He smiled triumphantly. Nifeng, Nifeng, you are capable of doing many evil things in the world. You didn't expect that you would end up like this, right? If it weren't for Anzi's map and inside information, he wouldn't have been able to enter the dangerous Tianxiahui so easily. Not to mention Nifeng's retreat. Nifeng, who was in seclusion, moved his ears and suddenly burst out with a powerful momentum. The entire secret room began to tremble. Dugu Ming and others were overwhelmed by this momentum, and their whole faces turned red from holding back. Grandmaster Realm, Dugu Ming screamed. He never expected that he would be so unlucky. As soon as I arrived here, I met Nifeng, the breakthrough master. Dugu Ming's face changed wildly. He gritted his teeth and used all his internal strength to stab Nifeng with the knife in his hand. Boom! Nifeng suddenly opened his eyes filled with murderous intent. The powerful internal force released outwards ejected several people. Puff! Dugu Ming spurted out a mouthful of blood and flew backwards. The remaining people were smashed against the wall outside like rags, and they lost their breath. Puff! Dugu Ming only felt that his internal organs were twitching non-stop, and he had already suffered extremely serious internal injuries. Reluctantly looking at Nifeng, who was stabilizing his state, Dugu Ming dodged and left the Divine Wind Hall. At this time, Nifeng has completed his breakthrough, and there is no chance to kill him. That is to say, he needs to consolidate his cultivation and not bother to kill him and affect himself. The huge movement here attracted the surrounding guards. Not long after, the entire Tianxiahui was in a state of shock. Start searching for traces of the night attacker. Snort. On the gang leader's throne on the first floor, Shangba had a scowl on his face. Murderous intent burst out in his eyes. His tyrannical character almost had his house stolen. Wouldn't it make people laugh if word got out? Not to mention annexing Wwang City and dominating the world. Gang leader, the guards just came to report that those who attacked at night were wearing the clothes of the Imperial Guards. We need to confirm whether they are right or not. Wen Cho on the side shook his fan and whispered. Shangba said disdainfully, Jinyue, even if they have the courage, they wouldn't dare to come here and act wild in my world. Wen Cho paused while shaking his fan and said with a smile. Cho didn't expect this. Gang leader Daji. They appeared in Tianxiahui in the middle of the night with their faces covered. How could they be wearing Jin Yue's clothes? Shangba shook his hands and said, Wwang City wants to lure Jin Yue into the water. Do you think I will give up? That's too naive. Now that Fenger has broken through, Bu Jingyan will come soon. It's not in vain that I have taught them for so many years, it's time for them to go out and expand my territory for me. Fengyan was the 2 disciples he found following the advice of Ni Bodhisattva. I have been taught carefully since I was a child, just for today. Now Nifeng has reached the master level and is strong enough to stand alone. Wen Cho smiled and flattered him. On the other side, Du Guming was seriously injured. When he staggered back to Wushuang City, he almost scared Du Gufang to death. Ming'er, what's going on? Have you met Shang Ba? Du Gufang was horrified. With the hidden map and their unexpected attack, no matter how hard you say it, you won't be hurt like this. Du Guming supported his body, vomited out the blood on his chest, and said tremblingly, Nifeng has broken through to the master level. After saying that, he fainted. After Du Yifeng hurriedly sent someone to send him for treatment, he became restless in the room. Nifeng has broken through the Grand Master, and the situation in Wushuang City is even more dangerous. This matter was beyond his ability. After sighing, Du Gufang turned around and found Bai Zi, the master of Jin Yiwei in Wushuang City. Master Bai, something serious has happened. Du Yifeng shouted as soon as he entered the door. Nifeng of Tianxiahui has broken through to the Grand Master level. Then Bu Jingyan and Qin Shuang will soon be here, you guys should think of a solution. The 3 Grand Masters Bai Zi, Li Cheng and Wang Mo who were woken up in the middle of the night looked at Du Yifeng with unfriendly faces. What does Dugu City Lord want us Jinyiwei to do? Kill Tianxiahui? Shangba has been a Grand Master for a long time. After so many years, no one knows what level of cultivation he has reached now. What can a few small Grand Masters do? When the time comes, Du Yifeng dare not hide anything. He told Du Guming all the actions that night. What? You actually sent people to Tianxiahui to kill people? And you are going to assassinate Nifeng and Bu Jingyan? Bai Zi was almost scared to death by Du Yifeng's words. His face turned pale. The other 2 were not much better, looking at Du Yifeng with eyes that looked like they wanted to eat him. They came all the way to Wushuang City just to intimidate the Tianxia Association and delay its offensive. Who would have thought that Du Yifeng would be so bold as to provoke Tianxiahui? Seeing that the faces of several people were not good, Du Yifeng hurriedly said, send a message for help to Jinling first. There are many masters in the Ming Dynasty court. As long as the court is willing to help, a Shangba is nothing. He still believes in the strength of the court. After hundreds of years of founding the country, I am afraid only they themselves know how many masters are hidden. There are even immortals on land. Bai Zi looked at Du Yifeng with an expression of looking at an idiot. Sneered, the masters of the court are not something that we Qinhu can mobilize. Are you thinking too much? Besides, don't you think about how far Tianshan is from Jinling? By the time our message is sent back, the masters of the court will come back, and the opportunity will be cold. Bai Zi's words pierced Du Yifeng's heart like a knife. He only wanted to drag the people of the court into the water, but he didn't expect this point, which pitted Wushuang City. After discussing for a long time, they still couldn't come up with a reliable plan. At this time, Du Yifeng no longer looked like the lord of a city, and walked out in a daze. After Du Yifeng left, Li Cheng said, what should we do about this? The court just asked us to help defend the city and deter the Tianxiahui. Now the situation has changed drastically. I'm afraid the 3 hall masters of the Tianxiahui will take action soon. The 3 were very angry at the behavior of the Dugu family. It would be angry for anyone to be stabbed in the back by a teammate. Bai Zi gritted his teeth and said, what should we do? What can we do? Without orders from above, who dares to leave? Arrange the people below to prepare for the attack of the Tianxiahui. The other 2 showed a trace of helplessness in their eyes. They had to start making arrangements overnight. In the next few days, the warriors in Wushuang City were completely mobilized. And the Tianxiahui was not idle either. Qin Shuang and Bu Jingyan also completed the breakthrough in just a few days. Since then, the 3 hall masters of the Tianxiahui have all entered the realm of Grand Masters. Ha ha ha, good, my years of teaching are worth it. In the main hall of Shangxin Hall, Shangba laughed loudly at the 3 disciples who came to pay their respects. Congratulations, boss. Congratulations, boss. The boss will dominate the world in no time. Wen Chao smiled while shaking his fan. A flash of murderous intent flashed across Xiangba's eyes, and the air in the main hall suddenly solidified, causing the people present to tremble involuntarily. You three, take your own people and take down Wshwang City. I've waited too long. This is your first battle in the siege. Don't let me down. Xiangba said in a cold tone. Yes. The three took the order and quickly returned to their respective halls. Then a large group of people came down from Tianshan Mountain in a mighty manner. Xiangba, standing in front of Shangxin Hall, looked at the scene in front of him. He murmured, Clay Buddha, I hope your prediction will not disappoint me. How could the movement of the Tianxiahui be hidden from Wshwang City in Jinyue? As soon as they got down the mountain, someone immediately passed the news to Wshwang City. In Dugu Mansion, Jinyue and the three great masters of Wshwang City gathered together. Dugu Yifang anxiously walked around Baizi. Master Bai, the people from Tianxiahui have already set off. When will the reinforcements from the court come? Qin Shuang and the other two are the top geniuses in the world. Facing the three people who broke through to the master level, Dugu Yifang really had no confidence in his heart. When will they come? Lord Dugu, you asked me when I can come, and I wanted to ask you. Baizi glared at him unhappily. How long has it been since you attacked Tianxiahui? The news is still on the way. He got angry when he saw Dugu Yifang. Isn't it nice to be a good city lord? You have to provoke Tianxiahui. Now it's good, the revenge of Tianxiahui has come and he is scared like this. Li Cheng, 1,000 households beside him, gritted his teeth. Don't boost others' morale and destroy your own prestige. Except for Qin Shuang and the other two who are grandmasters, what other experts are there in Tianxiahui? Will Xiangba attack us personally? They are just 3 grandmasters, and we are 4 grandmasters in total. We are not powerless. Why are you in such a hurry? Although they said so, everyone knew that they might not be the opponents of Qin Shuang and the other two. However, with Li Cheng's words, Dugu Yifang and the others felt a little relieved. At least Baizi and the other two were still ready to help Wshwang City. Report, City Lord, the people from Tianxiahui have arrived. The voice of the spy sounded, and several people immediately stood up and flew to the top of the city. On the city wall, many warriors of Wshwang City looked heavy, and their legs were shaking as they felt the grandmaster level pressure coming from the front. Qin Shuang and the other two came with great momentum this time, and their momentum was not concealed at all. Even the surrounding woods were pressed down by this terrifying momentum. Everyone in Wshwang City was shocked by this momentum. Tisk tisk, they are indeed the chosen ones of heaven. They have broken through to the grandmaster level so quickly. Xiao En, who was hiding on the top of the city, looked at the 3 people in front of the Tianxiahui team and couldn't help but sigh. Even if ordinary people are at the peak of innateness, it is impossible to break through to the grandmaster level without a year or 2. This is still the case with sufficient talent and accumulation. If they are not talented enough, there are many people who are stuck at the peak of innateness in this life. But this Fengyan has only been gone for half a year, and they have broken through one after another, which is amazing. On the city wall, Dugu Yifang led the crowd and shouted in the direction of the Tianxiahui with a serious face. Qin Shuang, my Wshwang City and your Tianxiahui do not interfere with each other. Now retreat. I can pretend that nothing happened. Qin Shuang sneered and waved his hand to signal his men behind him to throw out several corpses wearing Jinyue uniforms. Don't interfere with each other. Dugu Yifang, is this what you mean by don't interfere with each other? A few nights ago, your Wshwang City people secretly killed people in my Tianxiahui. Do you still want to pretend that nothing happened? Today, you either surrender with your people, or wait for us to kill us and flatten your Dugu family. On the city wall, Baizi looked at the people of the Dugu family wearing Jinyue uniforms, and his lungs almost burst. Dugu Yifang is really a piece of shit. If it wasn't the right time for internal fighting, he would have to teach Dugu Yifang a lesson. The Jinyue on the city wall glared at the people of Tianxiahui. They didn't know that they were from the Dugu family. They only saw the people of Tianxiahui humiliating the dead Jinyue. Dugu Yifang smiled at Baizi and the others. Master Bai, let's get through this first. I'll give you an explanation later if there's anything. He wanted to cheat people, but he was caught on the spot. Whoever did it was embarrassed. Baizi took a deep breath and suppressed the anger in his heart. Let's wait until you survive today. If you die, you won't need to explain anything. If there hadn't been an order from above asking them to help Wshwang City, he would have wanted to turn around and leave. Under the city wall, Bu Jingyan looked at Du Fang calmly, his eyes showing murderous intent. The figure appeared on the city wall in a flash. Qin Shuang also followed quickly. The people from Tianxiahui behind them all attacked the city. Bu Jingyan, who was the first to reach the top of the city, casually used the cloud-dispelling palm. After the breakthrough, Bu Jingyan's palms were flying, which was not comparable to what he had been in the original innate realm. Not only did the power of Pai Yun Zhang increase dramatically, but he also learned 2 more styles based on the original ones. The clouds in the sky were attracted by the power of his palm and turned around in circles. How dare the Dugu side on the opposite side be careless? Although he has been in the Master Realm for many years, his strength has not improved much. So far, he is only at the 3rd level of the Grand Master Realm. Invincible Overlord. When Dugu Yifeng came up, he used his special skill of pressing the bottom of the box. Boom! The palms of both sides stirred up, and even set off a small tornado on the wall. Many warriors in Dugu City were swept under the city wall. Ni Feng approached Bai Zi. The shadows of legs all over the sky danced on the city wall. The entire city wall was badly damaged by Ni Feng. Sacred Slash of the Setting Sun. The big sword in Bai Zi's hand inspired a strong sword light, and the sword light of more than 10 meters swept away a large area. But even so, Bai Zi could only barely resist 1 or 2. The remaining Qin Shuang faced Li Cheng and Wang Mo. It had only been half a year since the 2 of them broke through to the Grand Master Realm. Even if the 2 of them join forces, they can only struggle to hold on under Qin Shuang's Tianshuang fist. And it looks like it's in danger. It seemed that he might be defeated by Qin Shuang at any time. The crowd's attacks caused the city to sway uncontrollably. On the other side of the city wall, Xiao Jian watched this scene silently, with system notifications ringing in his mind. Ding! Congratulations to the host for picking up the cloud-repelling palm fragment, martial arts experience +10. Ding! Congratulations to the host for picking up the function leg fragment, martial arts experience +10. Ding! Congratulations to the host for picking up the Sky Frost Fist fragment. The martial arts experience value will be +10. Ding! Congratulations to the host for picking up the fragment of the Invincible Overlord and automatically realizing the Invincible Overlord. Ding! Congratulations to the host for picking up the fragments of the Setting Sun Sacred Slash and automatically comprehending the Setting Sun Sacred Slash. Ding! Congratulations to the host for picking up the internal energy fragments, the internal energy value is +100. Ding! Congratulations to the host for picking up the internal energy fragments, the internal energy value is +100. The dense system notification sounds made it difficult for Xiao Jian's head to accept it. And since these people are already at the master level, the internal energy value and experience value fragments Xiao Jian picked up are all 100. Looking at the rising experience value and internal strength value, Xiao Jian wished they could keep fighting. Unfortunately, things didn't go as planned. In just 10 minutes, Li Cheng and Wang Mo were the first to be defeated. Puff! The 2 of them were sent off the city wall by Qin Shuang's punch and fell heavily to the ground. The breath all over his body instantly dropped to freezing point, and the cold air on his body condensed, and he had lost his fighting ability. Seeing that Qin Shuang had already freed up his hands and was about to step forward to help Ni Feng capture Bai Zi, Xiao Jian had no choice but to jump out. He stood in front of Qin Shuang. Qin Shuang was stunned and blurted out, "Xiao Jian, you are actually in Wshwang City." Xiao Jian's appearance shocked everyone on the city wall. The 3 senior fellow apprentices know Xiao Jian's strength best. At the beginning, he relied on his own efforts to suppress many talented people and could not lift their heads. Qin Shuang was stunned, but a smile appeared on her face. "Because we can get this place back. Only they themselves know how much pressure the 3 of them have endured because of their last defeat." The reason why he could break through to the Master Realm so quickly was also because of Xiao Jian's encouragement. Qin Shuang looked at Xiao Jian in front of her with a smile, cupped her hands and smiled. "It turns out that Mr. Xiao Jian is here. Now that he is here, Qin Shuang will learn something from Mr. Xiao today, and please give me some advice." Xiao Jian waved his hand to Qin Shuang. He is still at the 6th level of the Shantian realm. If he wants to fight Qin Shuang, he will have to unleash all his strength, which is not necessary. Have to wait first. Xiao Jian also smiled and bowed. Hall Master Qin Shuang, long time no see. Why did you start a fight with Wwang City? Now he just wants to have a good chat with Qin Shuang. Don't disturb the people next to you. At this time, there were still dense fragments of martial arts drilling into his body. The system prompts in my mind never stopped. Ding! Congratulations to the host for picking up the cloud-repelling palm fragment. The martial arts experience value will be plus 100. Ding! Congratulations to the host for picking up the function leg fragment, martial arts experience plus 100. Ding! Congratulations to the host for picking up the internal energy fragments, the internal energy value is plus 100. Ding! Congratulations to the host for picking up the Arhat sword technique and automatically comprehending the Arhat sword technique. Ding! Congratulations to the host for picking up the pulse cutting finger and automatically understanding the pulse cutting finger. Ding! Congratulations to the host for picking up the fragments of internal energy. The internal energy value is plus 10. Xiao Jian was immersed in the system's notification sound and neither took action with Qin Shuang nor helped the people in Wwang City and Jinyue. Just stood there and chatted with Qin Shuang. Qin Shuang thought Xiao Jian had just arrived in Wwang City and knew nothing about the situation here. After explaining the matter between Wwang City and Tianxiahui in detail, he said cautiously, Sir Xiao, this is the situation. Wwang City must be destroyed today. Since we have different positions, we can only fight. Sir Xiao, please do it. Xiao Jian was still immersed in the system's prompt sound, just nodding blindly. He even nodded when Qin Shuang said that Wwang City must be destroyed. It made him look like he was in the same group with Tianxiahui. Qin Shuang's face twitched on the opposite side. Chapter 31. Ah, that's it, Xiao Jian shouted after coming back to his senses. These words made several masters who were focused on Xiao Jian almost vomit blood. They were fighting to death over their feelings, but Xiao Jian was still there in a daze. Qin Shuang's face suddenly turned ugly. He said coldly, since Mr. Xiao won't take action, then I will. Tian Shuang fist. Qin Shuang went all out with this attack. Everyone on the wall felt that the temperature around them suddenly dropped horribly. There were scattered snowflakes in the sky. Qin Shuang's blow actually changed the sky. Seeing that Qin Shuang was really serious about it, Xiao Jian didn't dare to be careless. The powerful Vajra palm is activated with all its strength. The golden palm shadow collided with Qin Shuang's Tianshuang fist, making a loud, rumbling sound. Xiao Jian's figure was pushed back more than 10 meters. After the palm shadow between the two people disappeared, Qin Shuang looked at Xiao Jian who was retreating with suspicion on his face. You are actually still at the 6th level of innateness. As soon as the two of them met, Qin Shuang realized something was wrong. Such a long time has passed, and their brothers and sisters have already broken through to the level of Grand Master. Doesn't it make sense that Xiao Jian, who is more talented than them, is innate? Hearing what Qin Shuang said, Nifeng and Bu Jingyun took action and knocked away the people on the opposite side, then ducked in front of Qin Shuang. Both of them looked at Xiao Jian with strange expressions. Could it be that they were mistaken and Xiao Jian's talent was at its peak? There are many people in this world who are explosive in the early stage but insufficient in the later stage, so it is reasonable for Qin Shuang to have this doubt. Baizi and Dugu Yifeng ignored the churning energy and blood in their bodies and hurriedly came to Xiao Jian's side. He asked cautiously, has Master Xiao not broken through to the Grandmaster realm yet? If Xiao Jian breaks through to the Grandmaster realm, they don't have to worry. When you are in the Shantian realm, you can fight 1 against 3, but there is no reason why you can't do it when you are at the Grandmaster realm. Xiao Jian shrugged. No, I have always been in the Shantian realm. Seeing how many people stopped, Xiao Jian was also speechless. If the Grandmaster stops fighting and relies on those innate warriors to provide experience points, how can that be done? Xiao Jian immediately said righteously. What happened to the Shantian realm? As a member of the Imperial Guard, how can we back down at this time? Leave Qin Shuang to me to deal with it, don't worry. In order to dispel the doubts of Baizi and others, he also used all his internal energy to improve his cultivation. The whole person's momentum surged instantly. 7th level of innateness. The 8th level of innateness. The 9th level of innateness. It didn't stop until it reached its innate peak. This Xiao Jian's change made several Grand Masters present stunned. When can the innate realm be continuously broken through? It's a pity that I still haven't broken through to the master level. Qin Shuang shook his head. He couldn't wait to compete again with Xiao Jian, who was at the same level. Now, although Xiao Jian has been promoted several levels in a row, he is still not at the master level after all. The gap between the peak Shantian and the Grandmaster is a bit bigger. Even if he could defeat Xiao Jian, he would not be able to wash away the shame that Xiao Jian had brought to Tianxiahui. But at this time, Xiao Jian just wanted a few people to fight. Deng even rushed towards Qin Shuang, using Qin Shuang's unique skills. Tian Shuang Fist. A burst of cold air that was even more terrifying than before made Qin Shuang's heart skip a beat. I don't believe that even your peak innate ability can beat me. Qin Shuang's pupils suddenly shrank, and he struck Xiao Jian with the same move. The energetic collision between the two caused the clouds to dissipate and turn into snowflakes falling down. A cloud of mist also appeared on the city wall, and the cold air was so strong that several Grand Masters nearby shivered. When the cold air dissipated, Bai Zi and others found that Xiao Jian was unharmed and did not take a step back. On the other hand, Qin Shuang's clothes were a little messy across from her. Xiao Jian's performance exceeded everyone's expectations. Okay, he is really the most outstanding talent of the younger generation of Jinyue. With Xiao Jian here, Wushuang City will have no worries. It is rare in the world to be able to stand up to the master level with the highest level of innate talent. Bai Zi and others couldn't help shouting. Xiao Jian really made Jinyue look good. The genius who competes with the master level with his peak innate cultivation level has never heard of this record for 100 years. That's right, Master Xiao Jian is still so admirable. Qin Shuang's eyes showed a trace of excitement. Ever since he was defeated by Xiao Jian, he had even dreamed of fighting Xiao Jian again. I didn't expect the opportunity to come so soon. When Xiao Jian saw Bai Zi and the others standing there stupidly watching the show, Xiao Jian shouted loudly. You first capture the Grand Master of the Tianxiahui, and then help me. I can't last long. Bai Zi and the others were all excited and rushed towards Nifeng and others. Xiao Zhenk is still at the peak of his innate ability, and it will be good if he can block Qin Shuang for a while. After all, the Grand Master's inner strength cannot be compared to the innate realm. A group of people started fighting again. Ding! Congratulations to the host for picking up the cloud-repelling palm fragment. The martial arts experience value will be plus 100. Ding! Congratulations to the host for picking up the internal force fragments, the internal force value plus 100. Ding! Congratulations to the host for picking up the internal force fragments, the internal force value plus 100. Xiao Jian felt relieved when he heard the familiar system prompt sound in his mind. But after all, Bai Zi and the others are not comparable to Nifeng. After holding on for a few more minutes, he was defeated again. Du Yifeng, who was fighting against Bu Jingyan, was in an even worse situation. He was hit in the chest by Bu Jingyan's palm and his breath quickly weakened. He immediately spat out a mouthful of blood mixed with fragments of internal organs. Under the Paiyan palm force, Du Yifeng's internal organs had been shattered. Now he was just relying on the master-level internal force to force himself to survive. In a sense, he was already dead. Next, even if he didn't fight, he would definitely not live long. Bu Jingyan and Nifeng quickly stood beside Qin Shuang, staring at Xiao Jian with shining eyes. Xiao Jian looked at the excited three brothers in front of him, and the corner of his mouth twitched fiercely. Brother, let me do it. Nifeng was eager to try, and his eyes revealed a trace of eagerness. He was just about to compete with Xiao Jian in the Wind God leg. After the breakthrough, he also comprehended the last two moves of the Wind God leg. Let me do it, Bu Jingyan said lightly, without waiting for Qin Shuang and the others to agree. He directly used a move, heavy clouds and deep locks. Above the city wall, the clouds within a radius of several miles were pulled by Bu Jingyan's move, turning into a vortex and rushing straight towards Xiao Jian. The Grandmaster realm can attract the power of the surrounding heaven and earth, but just breaking through the Grandmaster realm can cause such a huge celestial phenomenon, which is enough to show how amazing Bu Jingyan's talent is. As expected of the son of destiny in Fengyan. Xiao Jian murmured. The 3 unique skills of Tianxiahui are also top-notch in the world. However, these 3 unique skills are mutually reinforcing and mutually restraining. Tianshuang Fist restrains Paiyan Palm restrains Function Leg, and Function Leg restrains Tianshuang Fist. Only Shangba and his 4 disciples know this relationship in Tianxiahui. Xiao Jian knows it first, so he naturally knows it. Then he used Tianshuang Fist to rush into the sky. Boom! The clouds above were frozen by the cold air on Xiao Jian's fists, and the clouds turned into snowflakes and slowly fell. Bu Jingyan's earth-shaking moves were easily resolved by Xiao Jian. What's going on? Master Xiao is so powerful. He can easily break Bu Jingyan's unique skills. It seems that we still underestimated Master Xiao. The confused Bai Zi and others laughed. The more powerful Xiao Jian is, the more confident they are. But Qin Shuang and the other 3 on the opposite side turned black. Staring at Xiao Jian with a serious expression, the excitement at the beginning was gone in his eyes. Originally, they all wanted to use Xiao Jian to sharpen themselves. But now Xiao Jian seems to have discovered the secrets of the 3 unique skills, which is too threatening to them. Qin Shuang asked tentatively, why didn't Lord Xiao use Paiyan Palm this time? Junior brother Yun wants to have a good discussion with Lord Xiao about Paiyan Palm. In the past, Xiao Jian used the same moves when fighting with them. Why did it change this time? Xiao Jian looked at the 3 people with interest, and his tone was relaxed. Tian Shuang Fist counters Paiyan Palm, why don't I use Tian Shuang Fist? Qin Shuang and the other 2 were as black as coal. Now it is confirmed that Xiao Jian really knows the secret of Tianxiahui's unique skills, and this person must not be kept. Sorry, Lord Xiao, your existence has seriously threatened Tianxiahui, we can't keep you. Qin Shuang said with a faint regret, and then winked at Bu Jingyan and Nifeng, and the 3 of them directly surrounded Xiao Jian. Obviously intending to bully the minority with the majority. Shameless. 3 Grand Masters besieged a Shantian realm, you are unworthy of being called Tianzhao. They are taking advantage of the fact that Lord Xiao has not yet broken through to the Grandmaster level to clear the obstacles on the road in advance. The people of Tianxiahui are too shameless. Bai Zi and other Grandmasters no longer had the strength to fight, and could only lean against the city wall and curse. The rest of the people in Wushuang City also shouted and cursed. Although their curses were ugly, Qin Shuang and the other 2 did not hesitate at all. They all used their unique skills against Xiao Jian, as if they were determined to kill Xiao Jian. On the city wall, palm shadows, fist shadows, and leg shadows flew, wrapping Xiao Jian's figure in the center. Xiao Jian raised the corner of his mouth slightly. A giant elephant suddenly appeared above his head. Ah! The giant elephant stepped, and the void trembled. All the palm shadows surrounding Xiao Jian on the city wall were like bubbles and disappeared into thin air by the giant elephant's roar. The ancient and mysterious pressure made everyone on the top of the city tremble. The body suddenly became uncontrollable. Is this impossible? The peak of the innate realm has such strength, and the world is so big that I have never heard of it. He broke the 3 people's unique skills with one move. How strong is Lord Xiao? Bai Zi and others looked at Xiao Jian in a daze, muttering to themselves. In the field, because of his fast speed, Nifeng almost hit Xiao Jian with a sudden break. Looking at Xiao Jian's half-smile expression, he forced a turn and held the city wall. Looking at the giant elephant phantom above Xiao Jian's head in horror. Qin Shuang and Bu Jingyan also opened their mouths wide. It's not that they haven't seen Xiao Jian use this move before, but the pressure he gave them last time was not so strong. Xiao Jian's strength has become stronger again. And it's faster and stronger than them. After the 3 people exchanged glances, they had to admit a fact. Even if they broke through to the Grandmaster realm, they would not be the opponent of Xiao Jian, the peak of the innate. Even if the 3 of them joined forces, it would be the same. This made them very depressed. After realizing this, the 3 of them didn't even have the courage to attack, but just stared at Xiao Jian blankly, in a dilemma. Xiao Jian's eyes revealed a hint of amusement. 3 Hall Masters, Tianxia will be based in Tianshan, so just stay in Tianshan. If you want to go further, you will cross the line. After all, this world belongs to the Ming dynasty. People in the rivers and lakes should stick to their duties in the rivers and lakes. Others, Thinking too much will kill you. After Xiao En finished speaking lightly, the giant elephant above his head exploded instantly. The huge wall of the town of Weijiao is crumbling. With Xiao En as the center, the sky is changing, and the floating clouds in the sky are also pushed to move rapidly in all directions by his terrifying momentum. Get out! Xiao En shouted loudly, and the giant elephant also roared to the sky at the same time. Puff, puff, puff. The people around were all shocked by Xiao En's roar, and the internal force in their bodies was out of control for a moment. Qin Shuang and the others in front of him were the closest and were affected the most. Yang Tian spurted out a mouthful of blood and flew away. Everyone in the Tianxiahui also vomited blood and fell to the ground. Even many disciples of Wwang city were affected, and blood oozed from their mouths and noses. Go! Qin Shuang's eyes were horrified, his right hand covered his chest, and his face was full of unwillingness. Quickly took the two brothers who were vomiting blood and the Tianxiahui disciples away. The warriors of the entire Wwang city were stunned by the powerful Xiao En. Oh my god, is this the genius of the Jinyue? Jinyue in the innate realm. Even the Grand Master doesn't have this power. Could it be a Grand Master? Of course, everyone knew that Xiao En was not a Grand Master, but they didn't know how to describe this scene of divine power like a prison. Puff! Dugu Yifang could no longer hold on, spit out a mouthful of blood and collapsed to the ground. Father, how are you? Dugu Ming hurriedly stepped forward to help Dugu Yifang up. Looking at his son, Dugu Yifang said with difficulty. Ming-er, Wwang city will depend on you in the future. Don't go against the court. Dugu Yifang looked at Bai Zi after he finished speaking. Sir Bai, it was my idea to sneak attack the Tianxiahui, and I also did the thing of framing Jinyue. I hope Sir Bai will forgive me. Bai Zi sighed and nodded silently. A master died like this, Bai Zi was inevitably depressed. Naturally, he would not care about anything. After receiving Bai Zi's signal, Dugu Yifang took his last breath. The Lord of Wwang city died in battle, and the whole Wwang city fell into a sad atmosphere. Fortunately, the plan that Tianxiahui had planned for a long time failed, and Wwang city was safe for a short time. Next, Wwang city was in charge of Dugu Ming. A large number of disciples began to deal with the battlefield. In the Shangxin Hall, Shangba sat high on the throne of the leader, quietly listening to the reports of Qin Shuang and others. Especially Xiao En's words made Shangba unable to hide his anger. The cold breath filled his body, and even the air in the hall seemed to be frozen. Wen Chao beside him was terrified. Having served Shangba for many years, he knew that the calmer Shangba looked on the surface, the more angry he was in his heart. Shangba looked at Qin Shuang and the other two with cold eyes and sneered. You mean a Jinyue in the Shantian realm can stop you three hall masters? The unique skills I taught you, he is now more handy than you. Is more than 10 years of hard work of Shangba destroyed? At the end, the whole Shangxin hall echoed with Shangba's voice. The three people were uneasy, and beads of sweat appeared on their foreheads. Since childhood, Shangba has left a deep shadow in their hearts. And this matter is indeed their incompetence. It is not their fault to be punished by Shangba. Shangba leaned back in the chair and sighed, his back bent a little. The three disciples returned with serious injuries when they first expanded the territory for him. This made Shangba suddenly doubt the correctness of the clay Buddha's comments. What made him more suspicious was that the mysterious young man in Jinyue was really so powerful. Taking a deep breath, Shangba said solemnly, You three, go find the clay Buddha for me right now. Bring him to me, I want to hear what he has to say. For so many years, he stopped expanding because of the words of the living Buddha. He started to accept disciples and teach them skills, but what was the result? He would feel uncomfortable if he didn't figure this out. After the three of them took the order and left, Shangba looked towards Wwang city, his eyes rarely showing a trace of confusion. In Wwang city, Xiao En also opened the system panel. Name, Xiao En. Age, 17. Kung Fu. The first chapter of the Divine Elephant Prison Power, 160 Giant Elephant Particles. Martial Arts. Perfect Vajra Palm, minor success of Wind God Leg, minor success of Cloud Slaying Palm, minor success of Star Shifting, minor success of Frost Fist, minor success of Invincible Tyrant Hand, minor success of Residual Sun Saint Slash, minor success of Arhat Sword Skill, minor success of Cutting Pulse Finger. Martial arts experience, 1570. Internal force, 3460. Realm, innate peak. With his current peak innate strength, ordinary grandmasters are not his opponents. Moreover, there is an advantage to not breaking through. That is, he is in the innate realm to the outside world. If the Tianxiahui or any other forces come to trouble him, it is estimated that they will send a grandmaster. It is not necessary to send a grandmaster directly, so that he can operate more. Then Xiao En will give them a big surprise. After staying in Wwang city for a few days, Xiao En set out on the road back to Jinling. The news of the battle in Wwang city spread at an astonishing speed. Whether it was the news that Tianxiahui attacked Wushuangchang or Shangba's 3 disciples broke through the Grandmaster realm. In front of the news that Xiao Jian's innate cultivation level could defeat 3 Grandmasters, it was not enough. Jinyue has really produced a genius this time. With so many sects in the world, is there no disciple who can suppress this Jinyue centurion? What a joke! 1 against 3 at the peak of innate, and 3 Grandmasters, who can do it? Such news spread everywhere. Jinling naturally received the news. Ji Gang heard Xiao Jian's name again, and the corners of his mouth rose slightly. He said lightly, "This Xiao Jian, a person at the innate realm, can actually defeat the 3 hall masters of Tianxiahui. It's really not simple. Others don't know Shangba's strength, but doesn't he know it? How bad can a disciple who has been carefully trained for more than 10 years be?" The Jinyue Tongji Yang Jian beside him also laughed. People in the martial arts world have always looked down on our Jinyue. This time, Xiao Jian helped Jinyue to gain face. Because most of the Jinyue members are warriors recruited from various places, and some are even forcibly pulled in to inherit their father's business. Their own talent and strength are indeed not that good. The inheritance of the martial arts sects is most valued for talent, and the disciples are naturally strong. So in terms of quality, the court is naturally inferior. Ji Gang touched his chin. Isn't the Jinling North Pacification Office short of a pacification envoy? Let him take office. Yang Jian opened his mouth slightly. Sir, this is not appropriate, right? The pacification envoy position is difficult to convince without the strength of the Grand Master. Besides, Xiao Jian is too young, only 16 years old, and the promotion is too much. In all, Xiao Jian joined the Jinyue for less than a year, and he was promoted to the position of pacification envoy. It doesn't conform to the rules no matter how you look at it. Ji Gang's face was solemn when he heard it, and he sneered, too much. I don't think so. Who in the Jinyue is dissatisfied can speak with merit. It's not that simple to wait for seniority one by one. Jinyue has been established for so many years, and the people above are getting more and more lazy. It's just right to use Xiao Jian to muddy the water a little. Yang Jian's eyeballs trembled, and he lowered his head, wondering what he was thinking. Ministry of Personnel. Since being insulted that day, Duan Yucheng has never seen Xiao Jian again, and he has no chance to make trouble for him. He even secretly sent people to check Xiao Jian's background, but unfortunately found nothing. He only knew that Jinyue sent him out for some unknown task. He was depressed for a while. Today, he happened to see the news about Xiao Jian. But this news made him secretly angry again. The peak of Shantian could actually withstand the attacks of the 3 great masters and retreat unscathed. Humph, I didn't expect this kid to improve so quickly. Duan Yucheng secretly cursed the people of Tianxiahui for being useless. A great master actually lost to a Shantian kid. And it was 3 against 1. Duan Yucheng looked at the note sent by Jinyue on the chopping board, and his eyes moved. He held it in his palm, shook his internal force, and it turned into powder immediately. You want to be promoted? Dream on. Duan Yucheng showed a sneer on his face. When Xiao Jian came back, Zhang Zhen personally went out to greet him. Sir Xiao, no, Xiao Junfushi, congratulations. Zhang Zhen's words made Xiao Jian stunned. Junfushi, did he get promoted? Seeing Xiao Jian's puzzled expression, Zhang Zhen smiled and said, your achievements in Wushuang City have spread all over the world. How could the Jinyue not show any expression? After that, he whispered in Xiao Jian's ear, I heard that the higher-ups intend to promote you to be the Junfushi of the Northern Junfuzi. A Junfushi at the age of 16 is unprecedented. Xiao Jian said lightly, Sir Zhang, just half a month ago, I was 17. Ah, Zhang Zhen was stunned for a moment. 17 years old is also unprecedented. Anyway, he couldn't beat him. After reporting back to Zhang Zhen, Xiao En returned to the courtyard. The courtyard without Ling Er always felt something was missing. The tables and chairs in the room were covered with a thin layer of dust, which looked a bit run down. Ling Er was still vivid in his mind when she cried heartbrokenly in his arms. When they had no money, they supported each other and never separated. Now he has a foothold, but his sister is far away in Bili. I don't know how she is doing. Xiao En spent the night thinking about Ling Er. The next morning, Xiao En appeared at the Meridian Gate again. Sir Xiao is here. Yan Rong and He Yu were the first to greet him. The others looked at Xiao En eagerly. Sir, your deeds in Wushuang City are really gratifying. Listening to the compliments of Yan Rong and He Yu, Xiao En just smiled faintly and asked, is there anything going on in the Meridian Gate recently? Jinyue is very impressive outside, but it is not easy to get along in Jinling, where high officials are everywhere and Shantian is everywhere. Yan Rong's eyes slightly dodged, and a trace of unnaturalness appeared on his face. Since the Lord established his authority, most of the ministers have been fine and have never bullied us. A cold light flashed in Xiao En's eyes. Most of them are fine, which means there are still some who don't know how to live or die. Needless to say, the one who doesn't know how to live or die is Duan Yucheng, the Minister of Personnel. Duan Yucheng was the only one who had a grudge with him at the beginning. The others would not deliberately make things difficult for the little Jinyue. Don't worry about the duty, Xiao En said lightly, and then walked to the side to rest against the wall. Yan Rong and the others looked at each other, and they immediately became excited. The Lord is going to avenge them. The two of them looked serious, and immediately stood straight, their eyes fixed on the direction of the gate. Not long after, the ministers who came to the court came one after another. They walked through the Jinyue's human wall in groups of 3 or 2, talking and laughing. Suddenly, everyone saw Xiao En in front of them with a bad face, and they were all stunned. Is Xiao En back? Looking at him, there will be something exciting to watch today. This evil star is not easy to mess with. Even the Tianxiahui suffered a loss. He is a fool. The court is not the martial arts world. Some people shook their heads, obviously not optimistic about Xiao En. In the martial arts world, fighting and killing depend on strength, but not in the court. Sometimes, killing does not require a knife. All the ministers who passed the city gate slowed down their pace and turned to stare at the back. The record of Xiao En's defeat of the 3 masters spread all over the world. But few of these ministers were optimistic about Xiao En. After all, the status gap between a Jinyue centurion and a minister was too big. Duan Yucheng arrived a little late. When he arrived at the city gate, he was still wondering why there were so many people in front. After a closer look, he actually saw Xiao En's figure at the city gate. His face suddenly turned black. It goes without saying that those colleagues were ready to laugh at him. Stop. Routine inspection. Xiao En blocked Duan Yucheng in time. Duan Yucheng pointed at Xiao En with a trembling hand, and his muscles were somewhat out of control. He wanted to slap Xiao En to death. He was a great master, but he was humiliated by Xiao En again and again. How could he swallow this breath? Thinking of how he had crushed Xiao En's promotion slip, Duan Yucheng suddenly whispered in Xiao En's ear with a sneer, "Don't forget, I am the Minister of Personnel. The promotion of court officials must go through my hands. If you don't want to stay in the rank of 100 households for your whole life, you should be more cautious." After threatening Xiao En a few times, he felt much better. Duan Yucheng, who was waiting for Xiao En to give in, raised the corner of his mouth, looking very proud. Xiao En narrowed his eyes, and with lightning speed, punched Duan Yucheng on the chin. Boom! Duan Yucheng hit the stone bricks at the city gate hard. Duan Yucheng, who flew out, was stunned. Everyone in Jinyue was stunned. Many officials watching the excitement were also stunned. He stared straight at the Minister of Staff who was lying on the ground in a miserable state. You wanna die? Duan Yucheng's eyes were bloodshot, and murderous intent rose to the sky. Before Duan Yucheng could take action, Xiao En shouted loudly, "Duan Yucheng insulted the Holy One, take him down." The huge sound spread to all directions instantly. Of course he didn't expect the Jin Yue men next to him to take Duan Yucheng down when he said this. But first, it was confirmed that Duan Yucheng insulted the Holy Emperor. You fart, how dare you slander the court ministers? Duan Yucheng is going crazy. How dare Xiao En blatantly framed the Minister of Civil Service, again. Taking action outside the Meridian Gate, isn't this looking for death? Who dares to do something in the imperial city? A majestic voice came, accompanied by terrifying pressure, overwhelmingly covering the entire Meridian Gate area. Xiao Jian's heart tightened. This pressure was so strong that he had never seen it before. The person's cultivation level is at least the peak of a master. Even above the Grand Master, a figure slowly descended from midair. Staring at Duan Yucheng and Xiao Jian, the anger in their eyes almost burned the void. Xiao Jian did not change his expression under the pressure, cupped his hands and said. Duan Yucheng, the Minister of Civil Affairs, openly insulted the Holy Emperor at the Meridian Gate, and the Jinyi guards were about to take him down. Xiao Jian's performance made the visitor's eyes brighten, and his momentum was reduced. There were not many people who could keep their expressions calm in front of him. If Xiao Jian behaved like this, he would take a high look. He looked at Duan Yucheng, the embarrassed servant of the Ministry of Civil Affairs. The dignified minister of the imperial court was actually worse than a royal guard, which made the old man show a trace of disdain in his eyes. How can you take action without permission in the imperial city and take people to prison first? Since it was not a foreign invasion, he felt relieved. As for who is right and who is wrong, someone will naturally handle it. After the old man finished speaking, he turned and left. Duan Yucheng trembled all over. Go to jail, then something can happen if nothing happens. What's more, the imperial prison is Jin Yiwei's territory, where can he get a better deal? Please, Mr. Duan, Xiao Jian sneered, I'm not worried about Duan Yucheng's resistance. On the contrary, I really want Duan Yucheng to take action. Just give him another crime. Just wait for me. Duan Yucheng dropped a sentence harshly. This old man was a strong man from the worship hall who guarded the palace gate. Xiao Jian didn't know him, but he knew him. How dare he not obey someone's words? He could only put down a harsh word and went to the prison in dejection, escorted by 2 royal guards. Mr. Duan really went in. It's really lively now. The noble minister actually fell into the hands of a royal guard. It's so embarrassing. This Jin Yiwei is really stubborn. I can't afford to offend him. I didn't expect that the humble Jin Yiwei in Jinling would be so brave. You have to be careful in the future. The group of people chattered and headed towards the Golden Palace. Everyone in Jin Yiwei looked excited when they saw that one of their hundreds of households actually got a servant in. People who had been humiliated by Duan Yucheng a while ago were even more excited. At this time, he puffed up his chest and looked at the court ministers coming and going with great energy. The entrance to the Golden Palace. Ji Gang and other important officials of the imperial court came from the south gate and met many ministers talking about it. Even if their voices were lowered, with Ji Gang's strength, they would naturally hear everything. Shang Shui, the Minister of Civil Affairs, turned dark. It's Duan Yucheng again, and that Jin Yiwei is so brave. He even dared to beat up his servant. Ji Gang was speechless. How could they, the important officials of the imperial court, not understand Xiao Jian's tricks? But there is no solution to this matter. Xiao Jian said that Duan Yucheng insulted the Holy Emperor, and only the 2 of them knew whether this was true or not. No one can tell whether it is true or false. So what if someone guesses that Xiao Jian framed him? If there is no evidence, no one can do anything about it. Duan Yucheng's punch was in vain. Shang Shui glanced at Ji Gang, making Ji Gang a little embarrassed. After everyone stood still in the Golden Palace, Emperor Zhu Hujiao of the Ming dynasty sat on the dragon chair under the leadership of the eunuch. As soon as he sat down, Shang Shui immediately stood up and complained. Your Majesty, Xiao Jian from 100 households in Jinyiwei sent the minister of the Ministry of Personnel to prison for no reason, and you still ask your Majesty to judge. Puff. A minister below couldn't help but start laughing. Zhu Hujiao's face darkened. The matter of 100 households was brought to the Golden Palace to amuse him, right? Shang Shui had no choice for Duan Yucheng. Now that something has just happened, we need to get the person out quickly. The longer he is kept in prison, the more embarrassing the officials will be. Zhu Hujiao said in a deep voice. Ji Gang, what do Jin Yiwei think about this matter? Ji Gang stood up calmly and said, Your Majesty, this matter just happened. It still needs to be investigated. There is no conclusion yet. He is the commander of the Jin Yiwei, so he naturally has to step forward to carry it. Saying nothing is the best way to handle it. Zhu Hujiao nodded and stopped continuing this topic. And Shang Shui did not hold on to this matter. Anyway, his attitude has been made clear, and Ji Gang knows what to do with the rest. In the imperial prison, the imprisoned Duan Yucheng was still staring at Xiao En, as if he wanted to eat someone. Duan Yucheng also calmed down at this time, but the anger in his heart could not be relieved. This time he was completely humiliated. Xiao En took him to the imperial prison, but he just imprisoned him without doing anything or asking any questions. Just keep it closed. The Jin Yiwei beside him didn't dare to breathe. The imperial edict arrested a minister from the Ministry of Civil Affairs. This is not something they can interfere with. Everyone just looked at Duan Yucheng curiously, making him blush and feel uncomfortable all over. Xiao En stayed in the imperial prison for a short time before he was invited out by Qinhu Zhongzhen. Xiao En, why are you so impulsive? Zhongzhen rubbed his hands and bit his teeth. He said in an ironclad tone, as the minister of the Ministry of Personnel able to move easily. Without concrete evidence, we cannot defeat such a minister. You didn't torture him, did you? There were many incidents where Jin Yiwei had been defeated, but Duan Yucheng's identity was unusual. This approach simply doesn't work. Xiao En felt a little emotional in his heart. Although he usually didn't like Jin Yiwei's style, Zhongzhen really regarded him as one of his own. I can help you if I have a chance in the future. Xiao En smiled lightly and said, Thank you for your concern, sir. My subordinates just locked him in the imperial prison and did not punish him. Duan Yucheng is also a court minister after all, I'm not that impulsive. I just feel uncomfortable seeing him bullying our brothers in Jin Yiwei, and let him suffer a little loss. Zhongzhen's mouth twitched. Suffer something. A dignified servant of the Ministry of Civil Affairs and a master-level expert was punched down and thrown into prison. Is this just a small loss? This is such a big loss. Then you want to tell me that Duan Yucheng did not insult the Holy One? A majestic voice came from outside the central hall. Then Ji Gang's figure suddenly appeared in front of the two of them, with a restrained aura. Even if he was standing in front of Xiao En now, Xiao En couldn't feel any breath. Ji Gang's movements were impressive, with no expression on his face, and he looked at Xiao En with deep eyes. Lord Commander. Zhongzhen was excited and bowed respectfully. His whole body was shaking with excitement. Don't dare to look up. Xiao En's eyelids twitched. The majestic middle-aged man wearing a python robe in front of him was the boss of their Jin Yiwei. The thoughts in his heart were racing. Xiao En bowed his hands and said solemnly, Master Commander, Duan Yucheng did not insult the Holy One. But Duan Yucheng bullied Jin Yiwei's brothers a lot at Meridian Gate, and his subordinates also wanted to teach him a lesson. Ji Gang stared straight at Xiao En and remained silent. It seems like he wants to see through Xiao En. The air seemed to freeze. After a long time, Suna finally spoke, let him go. After saying that, he tossed his coat and left Beijun Fusi in a cool manner. Xiao En silently looked at the direction Ji Gang left, with a smile on his lips. He made the right bet. Zhongzhen came back to his senses and murmured, the commander actually came in person, you kid is really going to make a great career. He had been working as a Qinhu for so many years, but he still saw it from a distance once when he was on a mission. Today, the commander made a special trip to Beijun Fusi for Xiao En. It is enough to prove that Xiao En has fallen into the eyes of the commander. Xiao En said lightly, that's not necessarily the case. After all, it was a servant of the Ministry of Civil Affairs who was tricked. If he didn't give an explanation, Jin Yiwei would not be able to explain it. After Xiao En went off duty the next day, Zhongzhen found Xiao En with a complicated expression. Master Xiao, your promotion to the town's envoy was blocked by the officials. Xiao En was not surprised at all. If the officials didn't take action, he would still have to guard against the officials' dirty tricks. But now we only need to guard against Duan Yucheng alone. There should be more than this news, right? Xiao En looked at Zhang Zhen's embarrassed look and smiled and said, have you been promoted to the governor? Zhang Zhen was stunned. How do you know? This news just came from above, and he was the first to know about it from Beijun Fusi. Xiao En shook his head. After all, I am a member of Jinyue. Even if I offend the officials, the commander will not hand me over. At most, I will make some concessions and let you be promoted to the governor, and I will take your place. When Ji Gang came, although he didn't say a few words, he came here to express his attitude to the officials. Zhang Zhen nodded and sighed. You are really amazing, you don't look like a 17-year-old boy at all. When he was 17, he was still causing trouble. Next, Zhang Zhen began to explain his scope of responsibilities to Xiao En. As a member of 1,000 households guarding Jinling of the Ming dynasty, the territory he manages is quite large. He managed 4 of the 12 cities in Jinling. The Meridian Gate in the south and the 4 nearby squares, Anil Square, Wanbaofeng, Taiping Square and Zhaojiang Square were all under his control. Most of the people living in Anlifang were officials from the imperial court and wealthy businessmen. Wanbaofeng is a gathering place for ordinary traders and is very lively. Most of the people living in Taipingfang are ordinary people, and the B&Bs are very dense. Zhaojiangfang is a man's paradise. There are countless wine shops and tea houses along the way. Xiao Jian's eyelids jumped when he heard Zhang Zhen's words. These markets are all a treasure trove. After Zhang Zhen summoned all the centurions, he let Xiao Jian get to know the other 9 centurions. Although Xiao Jian was also in the Shantian realm, just like them. However, because Xiao Jian's record was too brilliant, no Jinyue centurion dared to act wildly in front of Xiao Jian. On the contrary, they were all very excited. Being able to work for Xiao Jian, a rising star Jinyue genius, has a bright future. After some understanding, Xiao Jian became familiar with the 4 market towns under the leadership of Centurion Xie Miao. Wearing Jinyue uniforms, Xiao Jian and his party walked on the street, and the people around them avoided them. It was like they had encountered the plague god. Along the way, many people were afraid that they could not avoid them in time, and countless people screamed and fell down. Even many roadside stalls were knocked over by the crowds who were avoiding them. This scene made Xiao Jian frown. Sir, these are all unruly people, no need to pay attention to them. There is a nice restaurant up ahead, please go there to rest and have some tea. Seeing that Xiao Jian seemed unhappy, Xie Miao suggested going to a restaurant. Seeing that it was getting late and Xiao Jian was a little hungry, he nodded. There were 4 Jinyue on both sides to lead the way, and Xie Miao was leading the way respectfully in front. Xiao Jian felt that he had become a villain who bullied men and women. The group came to a magnificent restaurant in the market, Yingbinlu. Although Yingbinlu did not have a strong backing, it relied on the skills of the shopkeeper to run it into the largest restaurant in Wanbaofeng, and its reputation spread far and wide. Shopkeeper, hurry up and serve good wine and good food. Before he even stepped into the door, Xie Miao shouted loudly and walked in with ease. Hey, here they come. Seeing that this group of plague gods came again, Lao Luo forced a smile and welcomed Xiao Jian and others to the private room. They were small families, and they couldn't afford to offend a small Jinyue at ordinary times, let alone Xie Miao, 100 households, and Xiao Jian, 1,000 households. All the delicious food and drinks in the restaurant were served. Xiao Jian also enjoyed it. Lao Luo served them well throughout the whole process, and even did not ask for money when they left. It seems that Xie Miao and his friends have caused trouble to the restaurant. Xiao Jian couldn't stand their humble appearance. Before leaving, he took out a silver ingot from his pocket and threw it to Lao Luo. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Lao Luo took the silver in a hurry, bowed and thanked. Back to the North Pacification Division, Xiao Jian immediately summoned all the Jinyue. Everyone is here, so I have something to ask. Xiao Jian said with a cold face. Do you often go to other people's shops and restaurants to eat and take bribes, eat and drink for free without paying? Everyone looked at each other. Seeing that Xiao Jian looked a little strange, Xie Miao asked carefully, Sir, isn't it customary for us Jinyue to do this? With Xie Miao speaking in front, the others became bolder. Sir, if those lowly people don't have us to protect them, I'm afraid they won't even be able to save their lives. They may be killed at any time. Is it okay to collect some money as protection fees? That's right. I just eat and drink a little, and I don't need anything that costs money. We Jinyue give them some things because we respect them. Who dares not to give them? Listening to everyone's words, Xiao En realized that the Jinyue of the Ming dynasty has always been like this. If it weren't for this, he wouldn't have been avoided by the people when he went to the streets. Xiao En frowned and shouted, "Shut up." The scene was quiet in an instant. From today on, all Jinyue under my command are not allowed to take bribes from merchants. Xiao En's words made everyone's faces change. If they don't take bribes, how can they live? The salary given by the court was not enough for their expenses. And they were used to being arrogant at ordinary times. Suddenly, a ban was issued, and they were all a little at a loss. Looking at the hesitant people, Xiao En's eyes flashed with murderous intent. What? Can't you hear what I said? Everyone looked at each other. Feeling the murderous aura emanating from Xiao En, they hurriedly responded. Xiao En said lightly, "Not only you, but also the warriors from other districts who come to Nanchang. Since you are in my Nanchang 4 districts, no one is allowed to reach out. If someone dares to reach out, you don't have to be polite, just take him to prison. If you can't deal with it, then report it. It's that simple. Do you understand?" The people below were all weak and responded sparsely. Xiao En also knew that it would be difficult to make them change all at once. Forced constraints cannot make them convinced. But it doesn't matter, they will know his intentions by then. After letting everyone disperse, leave 10 centurions. Xie Miao said, "Sir, they will not be able to maintain their lives like this, and problems will arise sooner or later." Now they agreed to that only because of Xiao En's strength, but Xiao En could not manage a place as big as Sefang alone. Xiao En nodded and said lightly, "Then give them silver and increase their income. Take people to various shops and restaurants and tell them that they have to pay protection fees by the end of the month." After that, he told all his plans. At first, everyone didn't understand, but as Xiao En explained, their eyes gradually brightened. "Sir, you are really a god. They also know how to count. According to Xiao En's operation, what they can get is not some food, but a large sum of silver. Compared with food and so on, silver makes them more excited. As for whether those unruly people will suffer losses, it is not within their consideration." The 10 people quickly found their subordinates and gave orders. "What? The Lord wants us to collect protection fees. Great." Many Jinyue changed their decadent look and went to execute the order excitedly. The whole Nanchang market was in chaos. What? Jinyue wants to collect protection fees? This is too immoral. Before, they just took a little bit, but now it's even more excessive. They actually asked for money directly. Is there any law? Do you know whose shop I own? You little Jinyue can't afford it. Let go, I have Lord Wang from the Ministry of Rights behind me." Various voices rang out. Some cursed Xiao En, and some threatened Jinyue, but those who dared to threaten Jinyue were taken to the imperial prison. Even if there were some troublemakers that they could not catch, they were thrown into the imperial prison by Xiao En. Under the strong suppression of Jinyue, except for the public opinion, there was no big problem. Moreover, a person's reputation is like a tree's shadow, and ordinary people would not go against Xiao En for a shop. However, Xiao En's reputation was completely stinking. The people did not dare to speak openly, but secretly cursed Xiao En. The next day, Xiao En caught some people with minor crimes from the imperial prison and cleaned up the 4 squares. At the same time, many Jinyue also patrolled everywhere, and took away all those who made trouble, took things by force, and stole things. However, in just a few days, the 4 squares seemed to have changed. No one made trouble, no one stole, and even Jinyue no longer asked them for money. The flow of people was nearly double than before, and the business of each shop was very good. At this time, the shop owners began to think of the good things of the Jinyue. When they get together, they always say a few words. The Jinyue finally did a good thing. I heard that this was done by the new Captain Xiao. Lord Xiao is such a good official. That's right, Lord Xiao paid for his meal at the restaurant last time. That restaurant has a booming business because Lord Xiao has been there. Everyone who is interested knows the changes in the 4 districts of South City. Especially some shop owners who left Sefang, their intestines were almost green with regret. Time passed quickly, and soon it was the end of the month. Xie Miao led many Jinyue to collect protection fees from door to door. Outsiders don't know the exact amount, but seeing boxes of silver being transported in from the gate of Beijunfuzi, they know that they definitely make a lot of money. 10 Jinyue centurions looked for Xiao En eagerly. Looking at the eyes of the crowd, Xiao En laughed dumbly. In the future, you will share 30% of the silver collected, I will share 10%, and the rest will all be handed over. Eating alone is a taboo. As long as the people above collect the silver, then their busy work can be justified. If there are any problems, the people above will also cover them. As for Xiao En himself, in fact, he doesn't need it. It's just that if he doesn't take it, it's not easy for others to take it. Doing these things is just to make the people under his command live a little better. Don't see Jinyue as seeing bandits. Xiao En still remembers the horrified look on the people's faces when he went to the streets. Everyone was delighted to hear Xiao En's profit-sharing method. Even if there were so many of them sharing 30%, each person would definitely get a lot. It was higher than their annual income, and it was only a month. What's more, it was a long-term income. Xie Miao said uneasily. Sir, isn't 10% a little too little for you? Everyone nodded. All the methods were thought up by Xiao En, and they just ran errands. Just take it. Just do your job well. Xiao En waved his hand. As long as the silver was enough, it would be fine. His goal had never changed. That was the peak of martial arts. With the silver incentive, the Jinyue under Xiao En worked harder, but Xiao En's move also offended many people. It made many people jealous. Zhang Yucheng of the Ministry of Personnel had been depressed for a long time. These days, whenever he goes out, he can feel the mocking eyes of his colleagues. He is so ashamed and angry that he wants to die. How can he raise his head without taking revenge? So, he has been secretly collecting news about Xiao En. When he saw one of the news, he was so excited that he trembled. He grinned and said, Xiao En, you have offended someone you shouldn't have offended. This time, let's see whether you will die or not. When the Jinyue was cleaning up the four quarters, they actually caught the illegitimate son of Shaolin Master Xuanku. This news made Duan Yucheng's chest almost explode with excitement. Xuanku is an old master, a super master with few rivals in the master realm. When he went down the mountain to train, he left this secular debt in Jinling. The Shaolin precepts are there, and Xuanku dare not violate them. He can only let his son Xuan stay in Jinling and open a small restaurant to spend his days. But because he relied on someone behind him, Xuan refused to cooperate, and was imprisoned in the imperial prison. He is still suffering in the imperial prison now. Not many people knew this news, and Duan Yucheng happened to be one of them. He hurriedly sent someone to deliver the letter to Southern Shaolin day and night. Shaolin Temple has always been a martial arts leader. Although there are many branch temples and they don't have the ambition to dominate the world, they have the strength to dominate one side. Even they themselves don't know how many masters there are. Anyway, there are several great masters in the open. As long as Zanku is dragged into the water, there is no worry about not being able to deal with Xiao En. At night, Zanku was meditating, and suddenly a little monk outside asked to see him. He was holding a letter in his hand. Master, someone threw a letter outside Shaolin Temple, and it was written to you. The monk walked up carefully and handed over the envelope. Zanku slowly opened his eyes, took the envelope and opened it. Just one look, the whole person's breath suddenly became violent. The envelope in his hand was instantly turned into dust. The little monk in the room didn't even have time to react, and was suppressed by Zanku's breath and spit out a mouthful of blood. The breath came quickly and went away quickly. If it weren't for the pool of blood on the ground, it would be as if nothing had happened. Master, the little monk cried in horror. Take it to heal your wounds, and don't tell anyone a word about what happened today. Zanku threw out a bottle of elixir, waved his hand and sent the little monk out of the room. At this time, Zanku was very uneasy. His hands even trembled uncontrollably. Xiao En, you are so brave. Zanku murmured, and disappeared in the room in a flash. Jinling City. Chao Fang rushed over quickly under the order of his master. He was still confused at this moment. Zanku actually asked him to come all the way to Jinling, and asked him to compete with Xiao En, the captain of the Jinyue. And he was quite dissatisfied with Xiao En in his words and asked him to kill him directly. Although he was puzzled, he had to do it because his master had ordered him to do so. At this time, he thought that it was because Xiao En had been too popular recently and angered his master. As soon as he arrived outside Jinling City, Chao Fang shouted with his inner strength. Chao Fang, a lay disciple of Shaolin, asks for instruction from Xiao En, the captain of the Jinyue. Under the powerful inner strength, the voice echoed around the entire Jinling City. The Jinling City was instantly boiling. Chao Fang, why is he here? And he wants to challenge Xiao En, the captain. Hasn't he already entered the Grandmaster realm? He actually bullies the weak with his bigness. He must have heard about Xiao En's innate cultivation and defeated the 3 great masters, so he came here specially for the competition. The people in the martial arts world are really shameless. I didn't expect that the great hero Chao Fang would come to trouble a captain of the Jinyue. You can't judge a person by his appearance. In Jinling City, there were warriors leaping on the roofs everywhere, and those in the acquired realm were jogging all the way, preparing to go out of the city to watch the excitement. In the Northern Pacification Office, Xiao En naturally heard what Chao Fang said, and his eyes lit up immediately. In the past month, he had not gained much except for some experience points and internal force points from some criminals. Chao Fang's arrival naturally made him happy. His 18 Dragon Subduing Palms is a famous martial arts secret book. It would be a pity not to take it into his pocket. Xiao En dodged and joined the army leaping across the roof. Watching the huge crowd on the rooftop is extremely spectacular. Not long after, Xiao En had arrived outside Jinling City. Appeared in front of Chao Fang. Looking at the energetic 17-year-old boy in front of him, Chao Fang felt a little guilty. His great master came to compete with an innate warrior, which made him lose face. However, it is hard to disobey the master's orders. We have to listen to the master's words, and we can only apologize. I'm Chao Fang. Please give me some advice. After bowing his hands, Chao Fang slapped him with his palm. The strong wind from the palm lifted up the sand and dust on the ground. The fierce fluctuations in internal energy made the crowd watching around him marvel in admiration. As expected of Bei Chao Fang, his strength is really not just a boast. I'm afraid even the Grandmaster realm can't resist this casual palm, right? This palm is really overbearing. Mr. Xiao is miserable. That's not necessarily the case. The people around were watching and talking. Fighting at the master level is rare. What's more, one of the two is the world-famous Bei Chao Fang, and the other is the Jin Yiwei who has suddenly emerged. Both of them are world-famous geniuses. Xiao En's eyes suddenly lit up when he saw Chao Fang's palm. I secretly praised in my heart, as expected of Bai Chao Peak. With just this palm, Chao Fang's strength is much stronger than that of the 3 people in Tianxiahui Fengyan. As for Nan Marong, there is really no comparison. Powerful Vajra palm. Xiao En's palms flew, golden light flashed, and he exchanged several moves with Chao Fang's palms. He was stunned and forced Chao Fang back a few steps. How can this be? Chao Fang's eyes widened. Xiao En was only in the innate realm, but he was able to force him back. The surrounding warriors suddenly exclaimed. Master Xiao's strength is truly unpredictable. Even the world-famous Chao Fang was forced to retreat. This only proves that Mr. Xiao is extremely talented. Even the Grandmaster is no match for him. Chao Fang doesn't look very strong. He is no different from the 3 major hall masters of the Tianxiahui, right? Why is he not strong? Chao Fang hasn't used all his strength yet. The 18 Dragon Subduing Palms are useless. I think he can only use it like that. How can he be Mr. Xiao's opponent? Chao Fang did not use all his strength. It had not been a short time since he had entered the Grandmaster realm. The slap just now was just a random one from him. After all, he really couldn't bear to bully such a young innate state. But just now Xiao En gave him a surprise. The perfect powerful Vajra palm. As far as he knew, no one in the entire Shaolin temple could cultivate to perfection. Xiao En's expression was calm, without any fluctuation on his face. Chao Fang, you can't defeat me without using all your strength. Use all your strength. Let me see the world-famous 18 Dragon Subduing Palms. Chao Fang looked solemn. He said in a deep voice, Be careful, the 18 dragon subduing palms are not so easy to catch if you move forward with them. Xiao En nodded. He stared at Chao Fang closely. Boom. Strong internal energy fluctuations came from Chao Fang. Even the space around him became distorted. A huge golden dragon shadow suddenly appeared on Chao Fang's body. A vague dragon roar sounded. It caused the void to tremble, and the spiritual energy around him tore wildly towards Chao Fang's palms. The twisted spiritual energy formed a tornado. And Chao Fang was at the center of the storm. Everyone in the venue lost their voice and stared at Chao Fang in shock. This power is worthy of Chao Fang, who comes with his own BGM. Xiao En murmured. At the same time, pieces of golden martial arts fragments came towards Xiao En. Ding! Congratulations to the host for picking up the Dragon Claw hand fragments and automatically understanding the Dragon Claw hand. Ding! Congratulations to the host for picking up the fragments of the dragon capturing technique and automatically comprehending the dragon capturing technique. Ding! Congratulations to the host for picking up the fragments of the 18 dragon subduing palms and automatically comprehending the 18 dragon subduing palms. Ding! Congratulations to the host for picking up the fragments of internal energy. The internal energy value is +130. Ding! Congratulations to the host for picking up the fragments of internal energy. The internal energy value is +130. A faint smile appeared at the corner of Xiao En's mouth. Seeing the phantom of the golden dragon approaching quickly, his whole body's internal energy quickly mobilized. When the golden dragon attacked him, Xiao En's side had already turned into a rapidly rotating cyclone. The stars have changed. The golden shadow rushed into Xiao En's body, circled in a circle and then suddenly changed direction and headed towards Chao Fang. Everyone opened their mouths and stared at the golden dragon roaring out of Xiao En. The stars have changed. It's really the stars of the Wrong family. I don't know who called it out, and everyone outside the venue was excited. They had long heard that Xiao En could learn other people's martial arts by just watching them, but they had only heard of their names and had never seen them with their own eyes. Of course, some people don't believe it. So I didn't take it too seriously and just regarded it as a compliment from people in the world. But now that I have seen it with my own eyes, I have to believe it. The giant dragon charged towards Chao Fang. Chao Fang's expression suddenly changed, and he had no choice but to hit the 18 dragon subduing palms in a hurry. Ouch! Boom! A huge explosion broke out around Chao Fang. It wasn't until the smoke cleared that a slightly embarrassed Chao Fang appeared in front of everyone. At this time, Chao Fang's breath was fluctuating, and his clothes were full of dust. Chao Fang stared at Xiao En, his expression extremely solemn. It is rumored in the martial arts world that Lord Xiao can learn other people's martial arts with just one look. Is that true? Xiao En's eyes flashed. This can't be admitted blindly. After all, martial arts have always been the lifeblood of each sect. If they really admit it, there will be a lot of trouble in the future. Xiao En shook his head. You believe the rumors in the martial arts world. If you can learn it just by looking at it, are you still a human being? At most, I can only learn a little bit of the basics. Xiao En thought to himself. I am not a human being, I am a cheat. Xiao En's words made it impossible to distinguish the truth from the false. Because their strength has reached this level, some simple martial arts can also be learned at a glance. As for how to judge this simplicity, everyone has their own standards. Besides, learn a little bit of the basics. How much is the basics? There is no way to judge this thing. Chao Fang looked at Xiao En in confusion, and subconsciously felt that this matter was not that simple. He even doubted whether his 18 dragon subduing palms had been learned by Xiao En. Are you still going to fight? Xiao En asked. You came all the way here, you should not just come to compete with me, right? Chao Fang is not the kind of person who covets fame and fortune, there is no reason to come here to trouble him. Chao Fang looked a little unnatural. He had not come here voluntarily, and now he had tried his best. As for why his master came to trouble Xiao En, he really didn't know, and it was impossible for him to tell. He immediately saluted and turned to leave. What does this mean? Looking at Chao Fang's back, Xiao En thought for a long time but couldn't figure it out. At this moment, a Jinwei rushed over. Sir, it's not good. The imperial prison was robbed again. Xiao Jian's expression changed, and he immediately flashed back to the imperial prison. At this time, a centurion in the imperial prison stared at the broken prison door with an ugly face. Besides this Xuan, has any other prisoner escaped? The Jinyue next to him hurriedly replied, Sir, none of the other prisoners escaped. With so many people, didn't anyone see how he ran? Ask the other prisoners again, did anyone see what happened? Yes. Following Zhang Tian's order, the other Jinyue began to interrogate the prisoners in the prison one by one. Xiao Jian suddenly appeared in the imperial prison. Master. When everyone saw Xiao Jian, they hurriedly bowed respectfully. Zhang Tian, how many brothers were killed? How many people ran away? Xiao Jian asked Zhang Tian, the centurion in charge of the imperial prison. If someone robbed the imperial prison, there would be a lot of casualties. But the imperial prison didn't seem to have suffered much damage at this time. Xiao Jian was a little confused. Zhang Tian bowed and said, Master, only one person ran away, no brothers were killed. No loss. Who ran away? Xiao Jian narrowed his eyes and felt that something was wrong. Chao Fang came to him for a duel inexplicably, and he was a little embarrassed, as if he had done something wrong. He was not as frank as the rumors said. And just after the duel, someone was kidnapped from the imperial prison he was in charge of. If you say that the two are not related, he will never believe it. The one who ran away is a man named Xuan. Xuan, why does this name sound like a monk? Xiao Jian murmured. Thinking of Chao Fang's identity, a flash of lightning flashed through Xiao Jian's mind. Chao Fang was originally from Shaolin, and this Xuan's name is so strange. This person must also be related to Shaolin. Thinking of this, a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Shaolin Temple. Outside Jinling City, Zanku's face was gloomy. Looking at the direction of the imperial prison, his face was full of resentment. He only has this one son, and he almost died in the imperial prison. How could he not be angry? Especially when he saw Xuan's body covered with injuries, he was going crazy. If he was not worried about exposing his identity, he would never let go of any Jinyue in the imperial prison. Father, you have to avenge me. Those Jinyue are really shitty. Look at all these injuries, it's all Xiao Jian's fault. He was the one who had me arrested. Zonda howled angrily. It made Zanku feel irritated. Okay, I know about this. You go find a place to stand near Shaolin Temple first, I still have things to deal with. Zanku closed his eyes and clenched his hands into fists. He tried hard to suppress the anger in his heart. Zonda did not dare to resist, and stood up and went to Shaolin obediently. Seeing Zonda's back gradually disappearing, Zanku turned around and returned to Jinling. In the residence of the Minister of Personnel, Duan Yucheng smashed everything he could see frantically. Xiao Jian, why don't you die? What is the 18 palms of the dragon subduing? It's just a false name. And what is Bei Chao Feng? Waste. It's just waste. Can't even beat someone in the Shantian realm. Duan Yucheng smashed and cursed until the whole room was smashed to pieces, and then he stopped panting. Waste. Aren't you also a waste? A voice suddenly came into his mind from outside the door. Who? Duan Yucheng was shocked and looked out of the door suddenly. Squeak. Zanku's figure appeared in front of Duan Yucheng, and Duan Yucheng was overjoyed. Master, why are you here in person? Please come in. He thought Zanku had only sent Chao Fang here, but he didn't expect him to come in person. I asked you to take good care of Xuan, and this is how you take care of him. Zanku asked coldly without caring about Duan Yucheng's face. If Duan Yucheng hadn't got the evidence in his hand, he would have planned to beat Duan Yucheng to death. Duan Yucheng froze when he saw the cold light in Zanku's eyes. Master, calm down. Master, calm down. This is not my fault. The Jinyue kid has a grudge against me. If I show up, things will only get worse. Everyone in Jinling knows about this. Master, you will know once you ask. At this moment, he didn't care whether it was embarrassing or not. The most important thing was to save his life. Duan Yucheng told all about his grievances with Xiao Jian. Zanku stared at him coldly for a long time. Go and kill Xiao Jian tonight. Duan Yucheng was stunned. How could he, the Minister of Personnel, do such an assassination? He was quite disdainful of Zanku in his heart. People in the martial arts world are people in the martial arts world. Don't they know anything else besides fighting and killing? If he couldn't beat Zanku, he would have the urge to beat Zanku to death. Master, Jinling is not the martial arts world. If we fight in Jinling and alarm the masters of the court, neither of us can escape. Jinling is the capital of the Ming dynasty after all, representing the face of the Ming dynasty. Who dares to act wild without the realm of the immortals on land? Not everyone can break in and get away unscathed like Dongfang Bubai. Zanku gritted his teeth and reluctantly gave up this tempting idea. But his dim eyes showed that he didn't intend to let it go. Since he couldn't attack in Jinling, it didn't mean he had no way to deal with Xiao En. At night, Xiao En, who returned to his residence, summoned his attribute panel. Name: Xiao En. Age: 17. Skills: the first chapter of the Divine Elephant Prison Power, 160 Giant Elephant Particles. Martial Arts: Perfect Vajra Palm, minor success in Wind God Leg, minor success in Cloud Dispelling Palm, minor success in Dozhuan Xingyi, minor success in Tian Shuang Quan, minor success in 18 Dragon Subduing Palms, minor success in Dragon Catching Skill, minor success in Dragon Claw Hand. Martial Arts Experience Value: 2,170. Internal Force Value: 3,560. Realm: Innate Peak. According to the system's information, he needs 10,000 internal force points to be promoted to the Grandmaster realm. And it's still early to reach this goal. Without a big battle, there is no hope of relying on ordinary accumulation. Duan Yucheng, I hope you won't let me down. Xiao En muttered to himself. At this stage, if he stayed in Jinling, only Duan Yucheng would have enough chance to attack him. No one knows how many connections and networks a veteran master has behind him. The next day, a shocking news suddenly came out of Jinling. Master Wang Yu of the Beili dynasty passed away. Master Wang Yu is a contemporary Shaolin monk. His inner demons attracted many people in the martial arts world. The golden coffin left behind made Beili even more chaotic. The whole martial arts world was shaken by this. Tianxiahui. Shangba summoned his 3 disciples. These days, the 3 of them were looking for the whereabouts of the clay Buddha everywhere. Unfortunately, the clay Buddha was so elusive that no trace of him could be found in the territory of the Ming dynasty. The 3 of them stood behind Shangba with some trepidation. The last mission failed, so naturally they had no confidence to see Shangba again. Shangba's tone was cold. The clay Buddha has a close relationship with Master Wang Yu of Beili. I suspect he is in Beili. You 3 go to Beili and must find the clay Buddha. There is also the inheritance left by Wang Yu. Try your best to bring it back. Wang Yu's inheritance is also a rare treasure. Whether it is his heart demon guide or the unique skills of the Arhat Hall, they are well known in the world. If the Tianxiahui wants to become bigger and stronger, it must naturally collect the world's unique skills and enrich its own foundation. The 3 of them bowed, carefully accepted the task, and turned to the Beili dynasty. Early in the morning, Xiao En came to the Meridian Gate to take up his post and heard about Wang Yu from his men. But this matter has nothing to do with him. As a Jinyue, he can't go anywhere without the order of the court. Just do his duty quietly. However, Duan Yucheng will not let him be his Chinhu so quietly. Duan Yucheng came to the Meridian Gate with a smile on his face, and was indifferent to the rumors of others around him. When he passed by Xiao En, he even looked at him provocatively. This made Xiao En a little confused. Logically, Duan Yucheng should avoid him. After all, to pass through this gate, he had to get his permission. Since Duan Yucheng provoked him, don't blame Xiao En for being rude. This lord, come here for inspection. Puff. On the side, the laughter of the ministers could not be controlled for a while, and the laughter sounded. Duan Yucheng seemed not to hear it, but walked to Xiao En obediently. With a sneer on his mouth. Lord Xiao likes to check so much, you have to check it carefully, the less you check it. Xiao En's heart shuddered. He immediately knew that this guy must be holding back something good. Who knows what bad things he might do in secret. Otherwise, he wouldn't be so calm. Xiao En showed a stunned expression on his face. Is Lord Duan dying soon? Then we need to check him carefully. You are just being stubborn. Let's see how long you can be proud. Duan Yucheng glared at Xiao En fiercely and entered the Meridian Gate with an angry hum. Looking at his figure, Xiao En's eyes flashed with murderous intent and murmured, I hope you won't let me down. Only fighting can allow him to quickly break through to the Grandmaster level. A Grandmaster like Duan Yucheng can't bring him any danger at all. Even if it is a Grandmaster, Xiao En has the confidence to protect himself. However, with Duan Yucheng alone, it is unlikely that a Grandmaster can be found to deal with him. Thinking of this, Xiao En's mouth corners slightly raised. He wished that Duan Yucheng would take action earlier. After leaving his post, Xiao En was called by Zhang Zhen to the office hall of the Northern Pacification Office. Master Zhang, what are your instructions for calling me here? Xiao En bowed to Zhang Zhen and then asked. Zhang Zhen looked outside the hall and confirmed that there was no one outside, then pulled Xiao En into the room. Xiao En, when did you offend the Minister of Personnel? Zhang Zhen said with some regret. Do you know, just after the court meeting, the Minister of Personnel, Shang Shuiyi, actually proposed that you go to Beili. Xiao En was a little confused. I have never offended the Minister of Personnel. He didn't even know the name of the Minister of Personnel, how could he offend the Minister of Personnel? But when he thought of the Ministry of Personnel, Xiao En immediately thought of Duan Yucheng. Isn't Duan Yucheng from the Ministry of Personnel? No wonder Duan Yucheng was so arrogant in the morning and dared to provoke him. It turned out that his boss had been persuaded to take action. In Jinling City, because there were masters of the Ming Dynasty court, Duan Yucheng didn't have the courage to use force against him, so he was sent to Beili. As long as he went to Beili, no matter what happened, the Jinyue would be helpless no matter how long they stretched their hands. After all, it was another dynasty. Xiao En even suspected that Duan Yucheng had colluded with the people of Shaolin Temple. Otherwise, it couldn't explain why Chao Fang suddenly challenged him. With Chao Fang's character, he wouldn't come all the way to cause trouble for him. Zhang Zhen saw Xiao En was thinking. He reminded him, don't forget that Duan Yucheng is from the Ministry of Personnel. If you deal with Duan Yucheng, you will hit the face of Shang Shuiyi, the Minister of Personnel. In Zhang Zhen's view, the relationship in the court is complicated, and it is normal for Xiao En to be young and ignorant. Zhang Zhen sighed and said, this matter has been decided. There is no way to change it. The higher-ups order you to leave immediately and go to Beili. To be honest, if it weren't for the court's order, he really didn't want Xiao En to go out. Beili is not the territory of the Ming Dynasty after all, and it is thousands of miles away from Jinling. Xiao En went there without any help except relying on himself. And the news of Beili spread throughout Jinling, and it will soon spread throughout the world. How many people will go there and who will go there is an unknown number. It is not impossible for a Grandmaster to appear. Xiao En narrowed his eyes and said lightly, since I have been sent by the higher-ups, I will definitely live up to your trust. I originally planned to go to Beili to find Ling after reaching the Grandmaster level, but now it seems that I can go there in advance. Hearing Xiao En say this, Zhang Zhen sighed in his heart. With Xiao En's talent, as long as there is no accident this time, he will definitely achieve the Grandmaster level when he returns. Zhang Zhen said with a trace of concern in his eyes. Master Wang Yu of Beili passed away, and he left behind a golden coffin. It is rumored that there are gold and silver treasures in it, but the most credible thing is that it contains his lifelong martial arts inheritance. The most important of them is the heart demon guide he practiced. This is a martial art that can see your own heart demons, and can also see the heart demons of others. After you go there, try your best to bring it back. At this point, Zhang Zhen looked around and whispered, remember, no matter whether you can bring back the heart demon guide or not, you must come back alive. The time was too short, and the Jinyue only knew so much information, and Xiao En had to check the rest himself. Hearing Zhang Zhen's explanation, Xiao En was shocked. Among the Jinyue, Zhang Zhen was the only one who really cared about him. No matter what the purpose was, at least Zhang Zhen had no intention of harming him. If there was a chance in the future, Xiao En would not mind helping him. Thank you, Mr. Zhang, I understand. Xiao En nodded and bowed to Zhang Zhen. After some explanation, Xiao En said goodbye and left. If the plot did not change, Shuiyu City would also be involved in this matter. Add to that the white-haired fairy from the outside world and the people from all countries, the situation is simply chaotic. But no matter what, for Xiao En, the more chaotic the better. It would be best if they beat their brains out. As long as Lingerer is fine. After explaining to his 100 households, Xiao En set out on the road to Beili. Duan Mansion. Duan Yucheng and Zan Ku sat opposite each other. The master's move is indeed extraordinary, and the boy surnamed Xiao has already set off. Zan Ku smiled when he heard this. This is just a coincidence. Who would have thought that Beili's Wang Yu suddenly passed away, which gave us this opportunity. But you did a good job. You actually managed to transfer Xiao En away from Jinling. You deserve credit. Duan Yucheng's eyes showed a hint of pride. No matter how strong Xiao En is, what's the problem? As long as he works in the court, there are many ways to deal with him. Zan Ku suddenly laughed and said, didn't that kid offend many people in the martial arts world? Spread the news that he went to Beili. I want to see what he can do. In the main hall of the Sun and Moon sect, a group of elders are discussing the death of Beili Wang Yu fiercely. Lord Zuoshi, our Sun Moon sect cannot fail again in the Beili matter. Yes, last time Elder Ku Yang was killed by a small centurion of the Jinyue, which made the people in the martial arts world laugh at the Sun Moon sect. When has our Sun Moon sect ever been insulted like this? This time we must let other people in the martial arts world know the power of the Sun Moon sect. If the Lord Sect Master was here, the Jinyue would not be able to bully our Sun Moon sect. Listening to the complaints of the crowd, Xiong Wenshan's eyes were gloomy. It seems that the heart demon leading technique is really touching. These old guys brought up the old things again just to suppress him. So that their own people can go to Beili. This way, the heart demon guide will fall into their hands. Suddenly an elder said, I heard that the Jinyue kid will also go to Beili. As soon as this was said, everyone was stunned. What? That kid dared to leave Jinling. He really doesn't know how to live or die. Let my disciple Yu Jianfang go this time, and I will definitely be able to chop off his head. Humph, I heard that Bei Chao Fang was defeated by him. Can your disciple Yu Jianfang do it? Let me go. I'll go, I'll go. Listening to everyone's vying words, Xiong Wenshan's mouth corners slightly lifted. Do you really think that Jinyue is so easy to kill? However, this matter has made such a big fuss, the forces that are counted in the world will definitely not miss this opportunity. They will definitely send elite disciples to go. The danger is not ordinary. Since they want to go so much, then let them do it. Xiong Wenshan's eyes turned, and he immediately had an idea in his mind. Among these elders, the one who made him most worried was the third elder Zhao He. This man was ambitious and took advantage of the leader's absence to madly provoke him, the left envoy of light. The person who just brought up the matter of Ku Yang was Zhao He. It was he who arranged for Ku Yang to go and get the Divine Foot Sutra. In the end, he didn't get the Divine Foot Sutra, but never came back. The Sun Moon sect lost an elder. Although he was not a powerful senior official, this matter had an impact on the reputation of the Sun Moon sect. Zhao He mentioned Ku Yang because he was targeting him. Elder Zhao, this matter is of great importance, so the trip to Beili will be handed over to you. Hearing Xiong Wenshan's words, everyone was stunned for a moment and looked at Xiong Wenshan. Zhao He was disturbed by Xiong Wenshan's sudden decision, and didn't know what medicine he was selling in the gourd. Xiong Zuoshi, you said let me go. Yes, it's you. Didn't you say that Xiao En would go to Beili? Then it's just right to avenge Elder Ku last time, and let the people in the world see that my Sun Moon sect is not something that anyone can offend. After saying that, Xiong Wenshan turned and left, leaving everyone with a back view. Zhao He narrowed his eyes. I always feel that something is wrong, but I can't put my finger on it. Ever since the leader left, he has been the one who is most dissatisfied with Xiong Wenshan. I didn't expect Xiong Wenshan to hand over the matter of Beili to him. Isn't he afraid that he will get the Heart Demon Guide and become stronger? This matter feels weird no matter how you look at it. No matter what you are up to, as long as I get the Heart Demon Guide back, then. Thinking of this, Zhao He's eyes were full of ambition. At the same time, at the Ming Shaolin Temple, Abbot Xuanxi was gathering with the heads of the various Shaolin temples in the main hall. Jingling, who had met Xiao En once, was standing in the back, listening quietly to the discussion of the elders of the sect. Xuanxi had a kind face and white hair and beard. At this time, Xuanxi was not as calm as before. On the contrary, he seemed a little sad. I didn't expect that Master Wang Yu would suddenly pass away. It's a great loss to our Buddhist sect. Although Wang Yu belongs to Bili, they are both monks of Shaolin, so they still have friendship with each other. Now that Wang Yu suddenly passed away, it was difficult for everyone in Shaolin to accept it for a while. Abbot, Master Wang Yu's passing away will inevitably attract many people in the world to snatch his inheritance. I hope the abbot will make a decision as soon as possible. The head of the Wudao Yuan said. Everyone agreed. Since ancient times, Shaolin has been a family. How can the heart demon guide be taken away by outsiders? Junior brother is right. The last time the Shenzhou Sutra was not taken back, this heart demon guide can't have any problems again. A trace of helplessness flashed in Xuanqi's eyes. The Shenzhou Sutra was actually taken away by a centurion of the Jinyue, which greatly reduced the prestige of Shaolin in the world. I heard that the centurion of the Jinyue will go to Bili this time. An old monk said, we can't make any mistakes this time. Jingling twitched the corner of his mouth when he heard it. Thinking of Xiao Jian's power in Junding Prefecture, he was a little dazed for a moment. Several chiefs began to discuss the candidates for Bili. After talking about it, they all chose people from the brothers of the Jing generation, which made Jingling a little anxious. As a disciple of the Jing generation, he knew the level of his brothers. If the brothers of the Jing generation were really allowed to go, then the matter would probably be in jeopardy. As a last resort, Jingling saluted forward and interrupted the discussion of several elders. Abbot, uncles and uncles, the strength of the Jinyue Baihu is not much less than that of the Grand Master. Isn't it inappropriate to let the brothers of the Jing generation go? Jingling's words made everyone's eyes focus on him. How dare you? Jingling, you don't have the right to speak here. The chief of the discipline court shouted loudly, which made Jingling's face change. Shaolin Temple is a place where rules are followed. The chief discussed matters without instructions, but he would be punished by the discipline court. No monk wants to stay in that hellhole of the discipline court. Jingling hurriedly explained. Master, the Jinyue's centurion is really powerful. If we don't send Master who is a master, I'm afraid the trip to Bili will fail. The head of the discipline court looked unfriendly. Last time Jingling failed and didn't get back the Shenzhou Sutra, the heads had some complaints. But Shaolin really didn't want to conflict with the court, so they let it go. They didn't care about Jingling's mistakes. As a result, Jingling actually boosted others' ambitions and destroyed his own prestige. Abbot Zhan Si looked up and found that there was one less person beside him. Where is Zhan Ruo? Hearing the abbot's words, a disciple next to him immediately replied, Abbot, Master Zhan Ku has already gone to Bili. Zhan Si's eyes sank. This happened not long ago. Zhan Ku was really fast. But since Zhan Ku has already gone, there is no need for them to discuss. Zhan Si looked at the disciple meaningfully, and then closed his eyes. The chief seat present looked somewhat dissatisfied, but no one said anything. He just snorted coldly. It was against the rules for Zhan Ku to go there without saying hello. But since he had already gone, they couldn't say anything. The forces in the martial arts world such as Yue Palace knew about Wang Yu's death. They all sent their elite disciples to Bili. Among them were Wawuk and other young geniuses. There were also some old masters. Washan sect. Yu Bukchun had lost face since he was defeated by Bu Jingyan in Fuzhou that day. And Xiao Jian forced him to hand over the sword manual of exorcism with just one sentence, which made him feel like his face was being pressed to the ground. But he was not as strong as others, so he had to bow his head. From then on, he held a grudge against Xiao Jian. He wanted to get back at him all the time. Fortunately, he had memorized the sword manual of exorcism at that time, so it was not a complete loss. After learning from the pain, Yu Bukchun cruelly cut off his second brother. After practicing the sword manual of exorcism, his strength has greatly improved, and he has entered the realm of a master. Before retreating, Yu Bukchun did not forget to tell his disciples to pay attention to the news of Xiao Jian. That day, when he was in retreat and practicing hard, his disciples came to report. Master, there is news about Xiao Jian from Jinling. Boom! The door of the secret room opened. Yu Bukchun was full of vigor and stared at the disciples in front of him with indifferent eyes. Speak, Master. Jinyue Xiao Jian has been promoted to 1,000 households by the court and will go to Bili soon. Wwang's eyes lit up when he heard this, and he was full of murderous intent. Xiao En was leaving Jinling for Beili, which was a good opportunity for him to take revenge. A sneer appeared on Wwang's lips. He immediately asked him about all the information about Xiao En since he had been in seclusion, including the death of Beili Wangyu and Xiao En's being sent out on business. What? You said he defeated Beili Chao Fang. He actually defeated Chao Fang, who was a master, with his peak innate strength. When he heard that Xiao En defeated Chao Fang, Wwang's indifferent expression suddenly couldn't hold back. Chao Fang is the leader of the younger generation. He entered the master level at a young age, and his talent was much higher than that of Qi Jingyan. But even so, Chao Fang, who was already a master, was still defeated. He was defeated by Xiao En. Wwang, who had just broken through, had a deep feeling about how big the gap between the innate and the master was. A person who had just entered the master realm could definitely deal with 10 innate peaks at the same time. And the chances of winning were extremely high. Now his strength was more than 10 times higher than before the breakthrough. This was the reason why he dared to trouble Xiao En. But Xiao En actually defeated Chao Fang, which Wwang could not accept. How could he defeat Chao Fang in the innate realm? Are you lying? How dare you lie to me? Wwang's face twisted, and he raised his hand to suck the disciple into his palm. He pinched his neck tightly. He looked like he was going to eat him. Master, I dare not deceive you. The disciple was about to cry. The breath on Wwang made him breathless. The terrifying murderous intent eroded his 5 internal organs, and a trace of blood flowed from the corners of his mouth. Wwang stared at the disciple with red eyes. He did not hesitate to injure himself to practice the sword manual of exorcism, but could he still not kill Xiao En? No, I still have a chance. Wwang threw the disciple in his hand away and murmured. Now Xiao En is still in the Shantian realm, and he must be killed before he breaks through. Otherwise, when he breaks through to the Grandmaster realm, there will be no chance at all. And the matter of Beili is known to everyone in the martial arts world. At that time, find some people who have grudges against the Jinyue of the Ming dynasty to attack together, and the chance of success will be greater. Thinking of this, Wwang immediately took up his sword and went down the mountain to Beili. On the other side, Fu was not idle either. Ever since he and everyone else worked together and were defeated by Xiao En, he was ashamed of it. After returning to Chan Manor, he imprisoned himself in a secret room and practiced martial arts crazily. With the help of Wang Yuyan, he practiced all the martial arts secrets of Chan Manor, Shishui Pavilion and Mantuo Manor. His martial arts became more and more exquisite. Unfortunately, he still stopped at the peak of Shantian. Compared with Chao Fang, it is not as good as one. Cousin, how do you think my current strength compares to that Jinyue? Fu suddenly looked at Wang Yuyan beside him and asked. This, Wang Yuyan was a little speechless. Xiao En fought against many people alone, and she still remembered his peerless grace. Cousin, you have done very well. Wang Yuyan didn't want to hit Fu, so she could only say this. Fu's face changed, and he looked a little gloomy. Cousin, are you saying that I am not Xiao En's opponent? He is also at the peak of Shantian, and I am also at the peak of Shantian, so how can I be inferior to him? After all, he is also a genius among the younger generation, so he can't compare to a mere Jinyue Chinhu. Wang Yuyan's face was a little tangled. These days, Fu was obsessed with martial arts and didn't care about anything outside. Naturally, he didn't know that Xiao En defeated Chao Fang. That's why Fu asked this question. Seeing Wang Yuyan's expression, Fu said coldly, Cousin, are you hiding something from me? No, no. When asked by Fu, Wang Yuyan immediately became nervous. She has always been simple-minded and will not lie. Her face turned red when she told a lie. This made Fu more certain. His face suddenly became extremely gloomy. Is it about Xiao En? Tell me. Fu snorted coldly, making Wang Yuyan's body stiff. Looking at Fu's cold eyes, Wang Yuyan had to tell the recent rumors about Xiao En in the martial arts world. What? Xiao En actually defeated Chao Fang? Fu screamed. In the south, Chao Fang in the north. He knew Chao Fang's strength, which was better than his. It's just that Fu relied on many martial arts, plus the protection of Dozhuan Xingyi. This is how he can be as famous as Chao Fang. But as Chao Fang broke through the Grandmaster realm before him, this balance was instantly broken. If he breaks through to the Grandmaster level, perhaps the two will be on the same starting line again. But what about Xiao En? He is still at the peak of Shantian, but he has already defeated Chao Fang. Doesn't that mean that even if he breaks through to the Grandmaster level, he will not be Xiao Jian's opponent? What's more, with Xiao Jian's talent, breaking through the Grandmaster level is as easy as drinking water. No, I have to go to Beili. Murong Fu gritted his teeth and said. Whether it is for the inner demon or taking advantage of Xiao Jian's failure to break through to the Grandmaster level. Get rid of this big trouble first. The trip to Beili is imperative. Wang Yuyan was immediately anxious. He quickly said, Cousin, can't you not go? Murong Fu's target is Xiao Jian, and Wang Yuyan knows this very well. But in her opinion, Xiao Jian's strength is not comparable to that of her cousin. Going to Xiao Jian again would only bring humiliation upon herself. Murong Fu snorted coldly. What if I don't go? I really need this demon to lure me. And this trip to Beili may be an opportunity for me to break through to the Master Realm. He has been at the peak of Shantian for a long time, but he has never touched the threshold of the Grandmaster Realm. If you continue to practice, you still don't know when you will achieve a breakthrough. Time waits for us. Thinking of the important task of recovering Dian, Murong Fu felt excited. Cousin, my cousin needs your help. Can you accompany me to Beili? Murong Fu knew Wang Yuyan's ability. Except for those extremely magical skills in martial arts in the world. There are few who don't know. It helps a lot to have him with you. Wang Yuyan hesitated. At Murong Fu's insistence, Wang Yuyan finally agreed. Follow him on the road to Beili. On the other side, Xiao Jian, who had explained everything, also set off. Since this time he was going outside the Ming dynasty, Xiao Jian did not wear the uniform of Jinyue. Even the embroidered spring knife on my waist was left at home. He slightly changed his appearance with a simple disguise technique, and left Jinling wearing white plain clothes. Beili is thousands of miles away from Jinling. Xiao Jian spent more than 10 days without stopping to enter Beili territory. According to his memory, when the golden coffin appeared, it was at the beauty village in Sanggu City. When the time comes, people from all walks of life will appear there. I don't know if Li Hanyi will show up, as well as his sister Ling Er. Thinking of this, Xiao Jian headed directly towards Sanggu City Beauty Manor. Beauty Village is the most prosperous place in Sanggu City. All kinds of beauties gather here, tourists come and go, and there are countless people who spend a lot of money. Among them, there are the most people in Zhonghu. They all live a life of licking blood from a knife's edge. There is no tomorrow. Naturally, he will not be stingy. However, recently there have been too many Zhonghu people coming to Beauty Village. What is different from usual is that the people in the hall are always armed with swords, guns and sticks. They looked at each other warily. Looks like I'm not someone to mess with. Most of the people have ferocious looks and are full of energy. Use this to warn others. Xiao Zhongao has been sitting in the box upstairs for 2 days. In order to find a good place to watch the show, he spent a lot of money to book it. Looking down from the window, the entire beauty village comes into view. There are no dead ends. In the past 2 days, he watched the atmosphere in the beauty manor become solemn. There are more and more people, and there are not many seats left in the hall. However, these people sitting in the hall have little strength, and the real masters are hiding in secret. At least Xiao Jian sensed that there were no less than 10 and 8 peaks. There are even a few faint breaths. He can't even sense the specific location. Their strength is at least starting from the level of a grandmaster. As time goes by, there is an undercurrent in Beauty Manor. However, everyone tacitly agreed not to take action, but instead waited for something. Squeak, squeak, squeak. There was the creak of a carriage at the door. 3 figures escorted a carriage in. The 3 of them are all young men with handsome features. There are 2 people who still exude a strong aura. The leader was Tang Lian, the eldest disciple of Shuiyu City. Shuiyu City Tanglian. Seeing the 3 of them, someone from the world suddenly called out. Everyone was shocked immediately. They all had swords in their hands, and the entire beauty manor shone with the light of the swords. The atmosphere in the venue instantly solidified. In the secret, Someone's breath was unstable and revealed. Xiao En raised the corner of his mouth. Fight, it's better to knock the dog's brains out. If they fight more intensely, he might break through to Grandmaster, right now. Boom, 2 powerful auras came, and everyone saw the 2 people flashing into the hall. Pluto Tsukihime. Seeing the 2 figures, Tang Lian felt as if she was facing a formidable enemy. Who in Beely doesn't know the names of these 2 people? As long as they take action, no one under the Grandmaster can escape their pursuit. Tang Lian took a deep breath and said coldly, "You two, are you here to grab the golden coffin too?" Before going down the mountain, Tang Lian knew that this trip would probably not be easy. I just didn't expect it to be hell mode from the beginning. Not only Beely, people from other major countries also participated. The entire world was in chaos because of this. This was unexpected. Tang Lian, leave the things behind, Hades said calmly. As a top killer, he has the confidence. However, Tang Lian's strength was extraordinary, and he didn't want to fight head-on. I wonder how many masters are hidden outside. You have to reserve your strength to deal with them. If you want it, it depends on your strength. Tang Lian's expression turned cold. He said calmly. Before entering Beauty Manor, he had already informed the people in Shuiyu City. As long as we support it a little longer, reinforcements will naturally come. Act recklessly. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.